Good evening.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, it's good to see everybody. It's right at 7:30 right now. So we're going to call this meeting to order with a roll call vote. Madam Clerk.
Okay, Alderwoman West,
Present.
Alderwoman Tapman.
Here.
Turn that off, turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. I'm trying to turn it off, y'all. Alderwoman Reed, I heard Tapman. Alderwoman Reed called and said that she texted me and said she wouldn't be here, so excuse Alderwoman Reed. Alderman Carroll,
Present.
Alderman Thomas,
Present.
Alderman Christian,
I am here.
Alderwoman Dales,
Present.
and Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Present.
And then the mayor is here, city clerk is here, city attorney is here. Chief, are you here?
Yes, ma'am. I'm present.
Okay, there we go. Okay, Mayor, all present except Alderwoman Reed.
All right, thank you. I want to ask for a motion to approve the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Are you looking at hands raised? My hand is raised.
No, I wasn't looking at hand raised. What's your hand doing up?
Yeah, remember, click on participants and then chat.
I see your hand now.
Okay.
I see a couple of hands.
Yeah, I was first though.
Were you first?
Yes, sir. It's anytime you see the first person, that's the order that it goes in.
All right.
Okay. All right. I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to place the approval of candidates to the police academy under new business, which is the proper place to place it. Move the comments of Michael Weesey under the mayor's report because it's not a consent agenda. Remove the approval of additional expenses due to the vagueness of the agenda item, and to remove the second public comment. That's my motion.
I will approve everything but the second comment from the public.
Well, someone would have to amend it from the board if they disagree with that. They can amend it and strike it out.
All right, there's someone from the board. Would you speak?
Can we get a second first, and then we'll be able to conduct business from there? Mayor.
No. Can I get someone from the board to recommend that we keep the public comment at the end?
Just a point of order, Mayor. They can do that. They can do that, but we are on the second now. So
Right.
they can always interject and amend, but you haven't called for the second yet in order for us to proceed on.
Let me run the meeting if you don't mind.
Well, no, this is Robert's Rule of Order I'm referring
I
to.
see your hand up. Alderman Thomas?
Yes, sir. I'd like to amend the,
Are you acknowledging my point of order, Mayor?
I didn't hear a point of order.
Yes, I said a point of order is that this is the moment that a second is called in the Robert's Rule of Order process. So you are interfering with our legislative process when you don't allow for a second and then a discussion and someone can amend after that. It does not prevent anyone from amending, but that is the process.
Well, that is not the process. Alderman Thomas, I'm overruling that. Is there a motion to let
You
the
on mute. Miss
comment
Alderman Carroll is on mute. You're on mute.
I make a motion to appeal the decision of the chair.
I beg your pardon?
I said I make a motion to appeal the decision of the chair on Alderwoman Avant-Elliott's point of order.
Second.
I'm sorry, but I'm not recognizing that motion, so there's no
City
need.
Attorney, can you verify that we're following the proper procedure and Mayor's trying to circumvent Robert's Rules of Order?
No, that's what you're trying to do, circumvent it.
No, it's right there. I've asked the city attorney to verify that in Robert's Rules of Order.
That's
That
not
what we're doing is the process. City attorney, can you verify that?
I will speak as to the process. Mayor, since there was a motion on the floor, it would be proper to allow a second and then go from there to your amendment.
All right, okay, I would recognize the second. Alderman Thomas.
I make a motion to amend the motion presented by.
I'm sorry, a point of order, the second had not been obtained yet.
There was a second.
Who seconded?
I thought Carl seconded, but I guess he did.
Carol, then you second, did you second the motion?
I'll second it now. Yes, I second Alderwoman Avant-Elliott's motion to amend the agenda.
Proceed, Alderman Thomas.
I make a motion to amend Alderwoman Avant-Elliott's motion and to allow the second public comment.
The second.
Richard will second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All right, ayes have it. So
My hand is up.
now there's a motion on the floor to,
You did not ask for the nays, Mayor.
what are you talking about?
So,
I said, can I say all in favor, say aye? I didn't say nay, okay, nays then.
nay.
Nay. My hand is up also.
Okay. Now, does everybody know what the motion is?
I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. Alderman Thomas, did you type yours in the chat?
I'm typing it now.
Okay, that's what I don't have.
Right.
Let me know when you have it.
Okay, I typed it.
Did you enter it? Because I don't see it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, hit enter. You don't see it? Or
I
you
don't
want to
see it.
just see it to you? Well, I just sent it to you, but it should have went to everyone.
Right. I only see Alderwoman Avant-Elliott's motion in the chat.
Oh.
Because I don't know what you said for your motion, sir.
Okay. Well, can I get some help? I typed it.
Okay, would you repeat the motion that is very
Okay.
simple?
And if somebody else could type it for me, because evidently I'm not.
I'll type it in. What's the motion you want to make?
Okay, thank you. Motion to amend Alderwoman Elliott's motion to strike the second public comment and to allow a second public comment.
There it is.
Okay. So all in favor?
So we're voting on his
Yeah.
amendment.
I mean, what?
So we're voting on Alderman Thomas's amendment right now, just for clarification, so everybody knows.
Right.
Okay.
All in favor of the amendment to allow public comment, say aye.
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 Opposers, say nay.
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 Okay, the motion passes.
Okay.
So
May I
the,
have my hand up?
oh, I'm sorry, let me get to you. Let me
Okay.
get to you. I'm gonna get to you. So Alderwoman Dales. You're on mute.
Okay. I would like to make an additional amendment to the agenda to add the police academy back in, comments of Michael Weezy, and additional expenses for Ward 4. And I would like to get a second on that, please.
Alderman Thomas, second.
Then moved and properly second. Madam Clerk, do you have that motion?
Yes.
Would you repeat it?
Alderwoman Elise Dales would like to amend the agenda to add candidate to the Police Academy, comments of Michael Weezy, approval of additional expenses, and last comments for the citizens to speak in the second comments.
For the question.
Alderwoman Elliott.
Yes,
ahead.
the motion that was approved already have those items included in there. So it looks like the only thing that she is seeking approval for is the additional expenses. So the last motion included all of those. They were not taken off the agenda. The only thing that was taken off the agenda was the approval of the additional expenses because of the vagueness of it. Clarification.
Mayor, my hand is up.
Okay, would you amend your motion to reflect that you want to add the additional finances onto it?
Are you speaking to me, Mayor?
Speaking to you, yes. Your hands up.
I did have that in there, but I also need for Michael Weezy or his representative to speak not in your comments in the order that they're in under new business. And that's the reason why I put it in there. And I also want the candidate for the police academy to continue to stay in the order that it's in.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Madam Clerk, do you have that?
Yes, she did.
So we can vote on it?
Yes, you just repeated what you had at first, right, Elise?
Yes.
Woman?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Mayor, I have it.
All right, it's been moved and properly second. And all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We may need a roll call vote.
Yeah, can we get a roll call vote?
All right, roll call.
Okay. Alderwoman, wait a minute. Alderwoman Dales,
Yes.
Alderwoman West,
No.
Alderman Carroll,
No.
Alderman Thomas,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman,
Yes.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
No.
We have one.
You left off Alderman Christian, I believe.
Alderman Christian, I left you off. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 yes, 3 no's.
Can I make a point of order, Mayor?
What's your point of order?
Okay, so when we were going through the process of amendments and Alderman Thomas made his amendment and it was seconded, when you proceeded on to the vote, you closed out that process at that point when we voted on his motion. So she can't cancel out what we just approved of his, and the attorney can verify that. So when you call for the vote, you closed out that process and we approved what he voted on.
Uh, Attorney, is that true?
Mayor, it appears as though that is what occurred when the amendment took place. So based upon Robert's rules, the only way to amend the agenda again would be by a 2/3 vote.
And we did not get a 2/3 vote to amend that again. All right, where are we now, Sister Collector? We move forward.
Okay. Let me see.
On the agenda.
Well, I guess the motion, Alderwoman Dale's motion failed?
Yeah, it failed.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, we move forward.
I'd like
Presentation of unapproved minutes.
presentation of unapproved minutes. I'd like for the board to approve all of the unapproved minutes except for 8/12/2020. That meeting was not a proper meeting. Is there a second?
We haven't made the motion, Mayor. My hand is up.
All right.
Okay. All right, I will be making motions by minute. I would like to, for the August the 12th, 2020 meeting, I move that the minutes be amended to reflect the process that the board agreed upon as it relates to only votes, points of order, Robert's Rule of Order format, and previously approved board items, and it be placed on next Thursday's special meeting agenda. That's my first motion. Put it on.
Well, you said a lot there.
Yeah, I'm putting it in. I'm putting it in there. I'm sorry. I put amend the motion. I move to amend the agenda. Hold on. I move to amend. Okay. So let's say I move to amend the minutes to reflect only the votes, points of order, and other Robert rules of order format as previously approved by the board, and that it be placed on the next Thursday special meeting agenda.
You talking about August 12th?
Yes.
Alderman Carroll.
I second.
Because that meeting was not a legal meeting, then I will not accept that.
Point of order, Mayor. City Attorney, can you verify? Only a judge can determine whether that was an illegal meeting or not. Board cannot determine, nor the mayor can determine whether that was an illegal meeting or not. So only a court of law can make that determination. And as such, that meeting, we held that meeting. There was a majority of people there, and board members there, and actually there were 7. So there was more than a quorum present at that meeting. So could you speak to that?
Well, I'll just share with you that meeting did not have a 24-hour notice. Therefore,
okay. I'm asking the city attorney. I'm not asking you, Mayor. I'm asking the city
I'm not
attorney.
asking you.
I'm
I'm
asking the
telling
city
you.
attorney, this is a point of order, that meeting,
Let me tell you something. You're not the only one can speak.
okay, and I made a point of order, and now, per Robert's rules, you have to listen to the point of order, and then you can make your ruling. And I'm asking, my point of order is that meeting can only be determined to be legal by a court of law. Is that correct, the city attorney?
Not true. The ordinance says that.
Okay, then let the city attorney answer it. If it's not true, then she can verify that, because I have it right here, and we went through this last week.
Point of order.
What's your point of order?
Point of order is that the chair has the authority to speak and handle the meeting. And also, Mayor, I also have my hand up for the comment that's in the comments.
Okay, I see you.
Speaking to the motion for the meeting for August the 12th.
Okay, but excuse me, I'm still wanting a ruling on my point of order, and I've asked the city attorney a legal question about the August 12th meeting, and I'm still awaiting my answer.
The answer to your question, Alderman Carroll, is that only a court can make a binding determination as to the legality of the meeting. There are other entities that can make a determination as to whether or not it was properly held in accordance with the law, but only a court can make a binding legal determination. That is correct.
Is the mayor one of those entities?
No, I'm not. I'm telling you that until we get something that says that the ordinance calling for a 24-hour notice, until we get somebody to overrule the ordinance.
That wasn't my question. I was asking.
We're not going to legalize an illegal meeting.
No, everything the board does is legal until proven otherwise. Is that correct, city attorney?
That's not necessarily correct. No.
That's
not necessarily. But I will say again, only a court can make a binding determination.
Okay, and my question was, is the mayor one of those entities that you mentioned that can determine whether that meeting was legal or illegal?
No, the mayor is not one of those entities, but he can certainly state for the record his objections and his concerns about the meeting that was held, and proceed from there.
Absolutely. And as
point of order.
Board,
point of order.
I'm still on my point of order. You don't point at the boy.
Jamie, please don't put your hand in me. Thank you.
A point of order is not debatable. If you attended Robert's Rules of Order, you would have learned that. So
point of order, that was unnecessary.
Well, your point of order is out of order too, because I'm still.
Point of order, you're out of order, Jamie. Point of order, you're out of order.
Only the mayor can determine who's out of order, and I'm still talking about speaking to my point of order.
And it can be done in a less decorous way.
Let me say this so we can move on. Alderman Carroll, you asked for an opinion of the attorney.
And she gave it.
And she gave it. Let's move on.
Okay.
May I have a comment? My hand is up.
Yes, Alderwoman Diaz.
Can I ask the attorney a question?
Yes.
Attorney White Coleman, can the Robert's Rules, standing orders, can they overrule the ordinances of the city of Bellefontaine neighbors?
No. With respect to authority that binds this board, the ultimate authority would be state law, state statutes, and then from there you would go to your code.
I have one more question.
Proceed, please.
Attorney Dorothy White Coleman, anything that is the ordinances of the city or Bellefontaine neighbors are illegal laws that should be governed by the board and the citizens. Is that a yes or a no? or you can answer any way you like.
The ordinances certainly govern the city and the board.
Thank you.
And the citizens as well.
Thank you.
My hand is still up.
Alderwoman Chapman.
I'm sorry. I just thought I'd wait. My colleague answered a part of one of the questions I had, because I'm concerned that we have sunshine laws and we have attorney general that are our legal binding offices. And the sunshine law states that there has to be 24-hour notice for any meeting to take place. I'm concerned that we as a legislative board is trying to usurp that authority by placing in our records a meeting that has not been determined its validity within itself, not being posted for 24 hours, delegitimize it anyway. But we have not received a legal determination from the Attorney General's office, which is, if I'm correct, Attorney White-Coleman, a legal binding entity, as well as the state of Missouri sunshine law. Is that correct? Which states it has to be a 24-hour notice?
The Attorney General certainly can render an opinion as to what Missouri law requires. And while that opinion may not have the same force and effect as one rendered by a court, it certainly is one that has authority behind it.
All right, point of order, Mayor.
What's your point of order?
All right, first of all, the person needs to be muted. That is one of the guests. I'm not sure if Fran can see that person. But secondly, we were on the second, and the attorney stated earlier in the meeting that once a motion has been given, that it is proper to ask for a second, and whatever happens from that point will be on the board. And so you have not called for a second on my motion, so we can proceed along the agenda that we approved.
Well, let me back you up a little bit. I have not recognized the motion nor the second.
You recognized me on the floor and I made the motion, and you have not asked for the second at this point. Once again, undermining the legislative process. The attorney stated at the beginning, when we had this issue just a few minutes ago, that once the motion is made, it is proper for the second to take place, and that has not happened.
Let me, you guys went to Robert's Rules workshop. When is a motion not a motion? You learned that. The question was asked in that meeting. When is a motion not a motion?
When the mayor tries to give it.
No. The motion
Mayor, this is Alderwoman West. I was supposed to be quiet this meeting. However, you are out of order right now. If you want to debate, you must remove yourself from the chair, allow someone else to chair while you debate. That's number one. And number two,
I've been letting y'all run.
No one is trying to usurp anything. People who are quoting that law is conveniently leaving out an emergency or special meeting can be called for cause. That's number two. So you cannot arbitrarily decide you're going to recognize some older people's motions and seconds and not others. You cannot do that. And that's all I have to say.
Alderwoman Tapman, did you pull your hand down? Oh, you still? Alderwoman Tapman? Alderwoman Dales?
I'm sorry.
Oh, go right ahead, Alderwoman Tapman.
No, I lowered my hand. I'm just waiting for the
Okay. Alderwoman Dale.
consent to pass.
I have my hand up. I type my rejection after if there is a second for the motion. I do would like to recognize that I did put inside the chat that if there is a second, that I would like to reject the motion. And I would hope that you will recognize that if there is a second on the
You
motion.
can't reject a second.
I beg your pardon. I've not recognized the motion.
Okay.
So,
So is this meeting going to be about you recognizing some and not others? Because I'm not going to waste my time.
well, I don't know, you know, I mean, it just depends on you and
No, that depends on you. You are chairing the meeting and you cannot again decide who you will recognize a motion from and who you won't. We are all board members.
And I respect you all as board members, and I trust that at some point you respect me as the mayor.
If I didn't respect you, I wouldn't be talking this calmly because you are my elder for one thing.
Oh, okay. Alderwoman Elliott.
No, I was just waiting for you to proceed for the second so we can move on.
There is no second. There is no second.
But Mayor, that's not something that you can
Then
facilitate.
you check your Robert's Rules of Order. You
This
check
is
it.
Robert's Rule of Order. I already was knowledge for the floor to make a motion, and we're waiting on the second as indicated by the attorney. Would you like to ask her again so you can proceed? Because we understand the process. So if you need to ask her, then it would be proper to ask her not to prolong the meeting, because it is not efficient to allow the citizens to see this process be dysfunctional when, you know, it doesn't have to be. We have gotten training, and
I will agree with that. It doesn't have.
okay. So we're at the point of a second. You cannot undermine the process just because you're chairing. You have to ask for the second, and then we can move on in our legislative process.
Okay. And
Thank
you
you.
cannot run over the mayor because you're the board president. Alderman Thomas.
That's not my attempt.
No, I meant to lower my hand.
Okay. Madam Clerk, where are we in this process? There's no motion. Where were we before anybody said anything about a motion and started all of this discussion?
I'm really a little bit confused because it kept going back and forth, but what I have down is Alderwoman Avant-Elliott made a motion, and Carol seconded.
And so,
And
what
that's
was the motion for?
the motion was, I wrote reflect only the votes, but I have to go back up in the chat and read her entire motion.
Well, okay. So let's move on to.
Point of order, we need to debate it and vote on it.
You done already debated it.
Okay, then we need to vote on it.
There was no motion because it wasn't
City
recognized.
Attorney, can you speak to this? This motion's been made and properly seconded, and we've debated it.
Only when it's recognized by the mayor.
No, you're not. I'm talking to the city attorney. She represents us all. City attorney, can you verify that when a motion is made and properly seconded, we've debated it, now it's proper to have a vote?
Not if it's not recognized by the chair.
I'm asking the city attorney. No, that's not how Robert's rules goes.
Well, you asked the question right. You didn't ask the question proper.
That's not how it goes.
If it was recognized and it was not recognized.
The motion was made, recognized by Avant-Elliott. She typed it in the chat box, and then I seconded it. And the city clerk has that recorded down. And now we debated it. City attorney, could you speak to this?
She can't recognize her own motion. Now, city attorney, you can speak to that.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little confused. If the city clerk could answer whether or not the chair recognized the maker of the motion.
If he recognized the maker of the motion, did he recognize?
Yeah, no, that would have been Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Right. Yes, he gave her the floor to make her motion. She typed it.
I did not recognize her motion.
Okay.
She went to talking.
Oh, no, you did say you don't recognize it. Okay, so, no, he didn't.
He
Recognize.
recognized me to have the floor.
It doesn't mean anything.
Sure, I recognize you for the floor.
Right.
I can recognize you for the floor and not recognize what you're doing.
Okay, so,
And Madam
Attorney.
Clerk, you need to take the minutes like they're presented.
So the attorney was still speaking. She wanted to first acknowledge that I was acknowledged, and then she was going to proceed with the proper information on the process. So
Now, I was trying to get clarification as to whether the chair recognized you to make the motion. And
yes, he did.
I heard two things from the clerk, so.
Could you just
it's
explain
not-
what could happen after this? Because he acknowledged my hand, and I started to speak. He didn't like what I said. That's something different. So
If the chair recognized the maker of the motion and it was properly seconded, then the next step in the process would be debate and then a vote.
finally, thank you.
Okay. So we're voting on your attempt to make the meeting on August 12th legal.
That's not what the attempt is.
And that, so here's your chat here. I'm in the motion to reflect only the votes, points of order, and other Robert rules format as previously provided by the board, and that it is placed on the next Thursday agenda, a special board meeting, August 12th. I move to vote point of order. Who keep making these points of order? It doesn't say here in your chat.
Yeah, Mayor, for
I have my hand up.
Alderwoman Dales had interjected on my motion, so that's why it may be confusing. But you said the majority of it.
And I have my hand up,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
All right. Go right ahead.
Still, for a point of clarification, we're still at debate stage. I still want clarification for myself and probably citizens who are like me. So we, in the amendment, is stating that we only want a meeting that has not been determined, the validity of it, legality of it, to only reflect part of what happened in that meeting. And according to Sunshine Law, anything that happens in a public meeting has to be, all of it has to be stated and available for citizens. So again, I'm concerned that we are trying to legitimize a meeting that was clearly obvious, not called properly because it was not called and notified to citizens in 24 hours. And now we're trying to omit part of what happened in that meeting. So I'm just confused because, like I said, it was already stated that according to state statutes and the Sunshine Law, the meeting does not meet the criteria of a legitimate meeting. So I'm concerned that we're trying to push this into our records without it. We want to abide by rules on one side, on the other side we don't. Sunshine Law states what the criteria is. Now we're trying to usurp it, but when it fits, we'll go along with it. So I'm just trying to get clarification for myself that we're trying to legitimize something that was clearly not properly posted and notified the citizens in a 24-hour window. That's my concern, and I'm done with it.
Alderman Carroll.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to speak to, the 24-hour notification. What the Sunshine Law actually states is that any meeting of a governmental body, unless for good cause, such notice is impossible or impractical. And at the August 12th meeting, we did have a public hearing or a determination as to why we were having that meeting on less than 24 hours. Additionally, according to the Sunshine Law, there's no definition of what good cause is. I have not been able to find anything in case law regarding a good cause pertaining to the Sunshine Law. There's nothing in our ordinances stating what's good cause. So as a legislative body, we took it upon ourselves to determine and what was good cause to have that meeting for less than 24 hours notice. And additionally, there's nothing in the Sunshine Law that speaks to meeting minutes. That was in Robert's Rules of Order training, and what the parliamentarian told us in the training, basically, all you need is what you did is what needs to be placed in the minutes, not what was said. And making the individuals who made the motions, that needs to be in the minutes. The votes need to be reflected in the minutes, and I forgot what else. And I also took the meeting minutes made easy, and that offered by the National Parliamentarian Association, and they said the exact same thing. It's not so much what was said in the meeting, but was more done in the meeting. And if it comes down to legalities, we keep copies of these, I hope, that we have these recordings that, then that can be turned over. But regarding the meeting minutes, it's just basically what is done in the meeting.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes. Well, if that's the case, then why is a motion? Why are we debating the point of taking and not fulfilling all that occurred on that day versus just including just part of it? The meeting was not called properly. The citizens were not notified properly. Even when you read the minutes, you see in there where on several occasions it was made known that the meeting was illegal, that even, I'm choosing my words, even the conversations that occurred even said that point, but it was just that the meeting just wasn't proper because no one was notified properly that needed to be notified. That's my part of the debate.
All righty. Even I wasn't notified properly. That's why I wasn't there, because I had another engagement. Alderwoman Tatman, your hand is still up.
I know, I said I was through, but I am after this. Again, I'm concerned that we pick and choose the legality and the intricacies of law to make it fit to what we wanted to do and what we wanted to determine. So either we're going to follow the letter of the law or we're going to tweak it and sustain it when we want it to fit our agendas. I am concerned as a legislative body that either we're going to follow the letter of the law or we're going to keep tweaking it when it fits where we want it to fit. Are we going to continue to go through this, back and forth? I have one question to the city attorney, if I may, Chair. We keep pushing Robert Rules of Order and parliamentarian, understand all of that. That's what governs the meeting. It does not govern the city or state statute again. And even though you find loopholes in the Sunshine Law, is there any even binding effect of some of the things that were done in that meeting? For instance, my question to the Senate Attorney, what is the binding effect of standing orders or resolutions, which were, I wasn't at the meeting, but I saw the notes.
Can I have a
What is
point
the
of order?
legality? What are the binding effects of those
Point of order,
things that were
Mayor.
stated in there?
Point of order, Mayor.
What's your point of order?
Okay, first of all, the attorney indicated that she would not be providing any legal opinion on that meeting.
I'm sorry, what is your point of order?
I'm saying my point of order. She indicated that she would not be providing a legal opinion, and Alderwoman Tapman is trying to get her to do a legal opinion. And additionally, you stated that we were finished debating and then allowed debate to happen again when we're proceeding on the vote. It is 8:14 and we have not made it to the rest of the minutes that have to be approved because of a continuous debate after you have called for the debate to end. Those questions have been answered in previous meetings. She indicated she was not providing a legal opinion. Can we proceed? That is my point of order.
All right, I'm not recognizing your point of order, but we do want to proceed. Just strike
And
out.
I'm going to drop it. I just wanted to clarify for citizens, and I hope that we can continue to go through this meeting without, with a proper, decorum, and that's all.
Okay. What is the motion, city attorney? City clerk. What is our motion? Where are we?
Well, we were debating the motion made by Alderwoman Avant-Elliott. That's still where we were. We haven't left there.
Well, what is the motion?
Her motion says, move to amend the minutes to reflect only the votes, points of order, and other Robert's Rule of formats as previously approved by the board, and that it be placed on the next Thursday's special meeting agenda.
Alderwoman Dales, is that your motion?
No, sir, that was Avant-Elliott's motion.
Okay, all right. All in favor of the motion, vote. A roll call vote.
May I have my hand up regarding the debate?
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, go ahead. I called you. Go ahead.
To my knowledge, I wasn't aware that we have a special meeting on the 12th. I know we do have a special meeting for the board to meet on September the 8th, but the next board meeting is the 17th. So am I hearing the dates wrong, or because the next special meeting that we have that's scheduled is for August the 8th for the board only. So how can we recognize a meeting that's illegal and we haven't gotten a determination from the Attorney General's office?
Okay. And then Alderwoman Elliott, you guys just throw up meetings all the time. You just meet. And because I'm just hearing about this meeting, this special meeting you just announced here. So,
Mayor, would you like clarification?
no, I want to vote on this motion and be
Okay.
done. Let's vote and move on.
You want me to call the roll, Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Alderwoman West.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes. This is on Alderwoman Avant-Elliott's motion, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Alderwoman Dales.
For the record, I cannot vote on a meeting that was not held illegal. So I'm not voting nor abstaining, for the record.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott,
Yes.
Alderman Christian. You're muted.
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman,
No vote.
Alderman Carroll,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas.
No vote.
Okay, Mayor, you have 4 yes and 3 no vote.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes,
can I ask the attorney a question?
sure.
Attorney Dorothy White Coleman, does this require a 2/3 majority vote?
Does what require?
The motion? Just
The
the question.
motion that is on the floor,
Yes.
no, it does
Okay.
not require a 2/3 vote, just a majority.
All right, let's move to the
Thank you.
minutes. I beg your pardon, the minutes of 8:13.
My hand is up, Mayor.
Proceed.
All right, I move to table the approval of the minutes from August the 13th, 2020 to the next special board meeting agenda on September the 10th at 7.
All right, now,
We received it today, so it was due to us not receiving it within 24 hours.
is there a second? Alderman Carroll.
I second.
Point of order.
Yes, what's your point of order?
Again, I was not aware of a meeting for September the 10th. We have a special meeting for the board on September the 8th. I was not aware of a meeting for September the 10th. And why are we constantly meeting every week? And I was not aware that the mayor or anyone else put a meeting out for September the 10th.
That's-
And if I
Because you
missed it,
can't get nothing done.
if I missed it, I apologize. But
Mhm.
I was not aware of a meeting for September the 10th.
Okay. So your motion is to table the meeting? I mean, the minutes.
Yes, sir.
Is there a second? Carol, Alderman Carroll.
I second.
Okay. So when a meeting is, when there's a move to table anything, the debate ends right there. So there is no debate. So the passes. In other words, it's tabled.
Oh, they still have to vote, Mayor, just
We
No,
gotta-
we don't have to vote. No, we don't have to vote.
for
All
our workers, we have to have a vote.
The
Motion.
8:20. The meeting is tabled to the date you named.
No, the board has to agree to it, so we only had a second, so the board has to vote on it, Mayor.
The board does not have to vote on the table motion.
You can check with the attorney, even
No,
though
Any motion has to be voted on,
everything
Mayor.
voted on. We as single individuals cannot determine a item being tabled. The board collectively have to.
When a motion is made and seconded and there's a table, discussion ends. So if you want to vote on it, let's vote on it. But no more discussion.
You want me to call the roll, Mayor?
On the roll, yes.
Okay, Alderwoman Tapman,
No.
Alderman Carroll,
Yes.
Alderwoman West,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas,
No.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales,
No.
Alderman Christian.
Yes.
Okay, you got 4 yes and 3 no's.
Okay. 8:20. Is there a motion to approve the unapproved minutes from 8:20?
My hand is raised for that as well.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, I can do them all because they all have errors, Mayor. And we did get them.
Would you please do them all?
Okay, thank you. August the 20th, I move to amend the minutes to remove motions with no second, correct the order of motions, and make additional revisions after second review of the audio and place on a special board meeting agenda for September the 10th at 7 p.m.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, Alderman Carroll. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderwoman West.
Yes.
Woman Tapman.
We're voting on to make corrections to the minutes and move it to a special board meeting.
That
Is that correct?
That was her.
Yeah, I'm
motion.
reading. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, because I didn't know anything about a meeting either. No.
You say no. Okay. Alderman Carroll.
Yes.
Alderman Thomas.
No.
Alderman Christian.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales.
No.
And Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Yes.
4 yes and 3 no's, Mayor.
The motion passes.
All right. I would like to make a motion to move the minutes I move to amend the minutes to correct typos and have the adjournment votes added and then place back on the special board meeting agenda on September the 10th.
Well, which, is that 827? Which one
Yes,
you?
sir.
referring
Yes,
to?
sir. It doesn't have the adjournment votes on it and it has some typos. So those needs to be corrected and then we can approve it on the next meeting. Yes, sir.
All right, is that second?
Second.
All right, Alderman Carroll, second it. Are there any further discussion? Roll call the roll, please.
Alderwoman West.
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman.
Yes, because there were several on that one.
Alderman Carroll.
Yes.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes.
Alderman Christian.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales.
No.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Yes.
Okay, Mayor, all yes and 1 no.
All right, motion passes. Planning and, no, I'm sorry. Commission and board, no, the meeting turned over to the public for 3 minutes. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's
Hi, this is Anthony Green. I live now at 9228 Waldorf Drive. Please, I think I have 3 minutes. I want to try to go through these. I don't need responses as I do them because there are many, and I would like to just do that and then be done. My first concern is there seems to be excessive speeding on a T intersection of Waldorf Drive and Dinky Drive. I have called the City of Bellefontaine Police Department and left a notice with them about that. Around midnight last night, someone came through in a Dodge Challenger, going roughly 75 to 80 miles per hour, ran through the stop sign. I know that we need to address the crime first, and that needs to be prioritized from a police resource standpoint, but I will not stand by and wait until one of our children are killed by these vehicles that have absolutely no respect for the law, no respect for stop signs, and be mindful that today I walked around 7:00 p.m. on the corner of St. Cyr and Yorktown, and me and another neighbor were almost hit by a car that unapologetically went through the stop sign speeding. So I want to be clear to the police chief that I understand that we need to attack the drugs, the assault, the battery, and the violence that needs to be prioritized. That I will not stand by and watch one of our children or adults killed by delinquents who have no respect for the law and furthermore don't even have tags on their car. We have Bentleys going through our neighborhoods or starter homes with no tags in the drug and sex community. And I would like us to really put up some speed traps. I'm willing to have my driveway be part of the police trap where police car can be there to make that happen. But I want commitment. I don't want excuses. I would like to hear the police chief talk about that, because again, I was almost hit at 7 o'clock today on that. The August 20th meeting, there was one of the older women indicated that the treasurer presented a balance sheet that had significant credit for accounts receivable. I would like to know if that error has been corrected, because accounts receivable should normally have a debit balance where other entities owe us monies. So I want to make sure that that either was identified as to why we have a significant credit balance where we allegedly owe people an accounts receivable, which should not be the case. That accounts receivable should be a debit balance where people owe us money. So I would like clarification on what the error was and how has it been corrected, if any. That again was in the August 20th meeting. The next one is, do we have any monetary items in the budget for the 2020 budget or the pending 2021 budget when we develop it for paving of the Edgewater Street and the Newbie Street? These streets have already been grazed in the sense that they have the asphalt is pretty much gone on it. It's at the black, it's at the like lower than the black level. You can walk these two streets and see that. I know that's an expensive proposition, but we should start developing sinking funds, including fining individuals for speeding in our neighborhoods to help fund the expensive proposition of paving these streets. They're in great disrepair. Again, it's Edgewater and Newbie. And lastly, I was told in one of the meetings that prosecuting attorney is not prosecuting certain citations either for the building department or whatever. If that is in fact true, I request, and obviously the board has to approve this, I would like the prosecuting attorney to attend one of the meetings and explain why they can't prosecute individuals who are not, following the code, or have houses in disrepair, or vacant homes that have been vacant for years and we cannot process them through the court systems. I wonder why those particular cases are being deprioritized, if that is in fact true.
All right.
And my last question, so that's it. I'll let that be.
Was up a minute ago.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish I could abide by it, but when we have meetings that are 5 hours long, it's hard to have a 3-minute dialogue. I'm not complaining to you. I'm just saying, just be aware that the meeting last time was 4 hours and 45 minutes. So I would love to have just one question, but there was a lot of stuff that was covered. So thank you very much. Again, if y'all have any feedback on these, I'll be more than happy to hear on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is anyone else from the public?
This is Wanda Lane. A lot of things, but first thing, Mayor, I know that we're going to have a town hall meeting. I would hope that citizens are given the opportunity to speak. I like the way the one neighbor said a couple of meetings ago, we have endured these 4 and 5 hour meetings, but then the citizens who the elected officials claimed that they were servant leaders for have definitely demonstrated that they're not very friendly to the public because the public comments are being shut down. But I read the June 18th minutes where it says the motion to remove the $500 as the BOA have not received invoices to review. So, and then Alderwoman Reed inquired if the over $500 invoices could be electronically sent. I'm wondering if that could be one of the reasons why there's a lag in getting the bills paid, which may affect our credit. And then at the end of the last meeting, there were several things that Avant-Elliott said that we didn't get a chance to respond to, but there was something about monitoring or co-monitoring the Zoom meeting with the city clerk. I don't understand the necessity of that. One thing I think that we should be mindful of is not all citizens have access to computers and smartphones and what have you. I can't tell you how many texts I get from my neighbors asking me questions about this technology that I don't have a clue. And I've been trying to get online for the last hour, and for some reason I can't. So I'm talking through my phone, so I don't know what to say, except to say that It's just not smart to assume that everybody has the same knowledge and the same ability. So the last thing I'm going to say at this point is city attorney made a comment that piqued my interest when she was reading from the 11th issue of Robert's Rules. I never heard Robert's Rules, that term spoken more in the last 2 months than I have in the 9 years I've been attending the meetings. But I picked up the 11th edition. That book is 669 pages long. So I'm just curious as to how one training session covered everything in Robert's Rules, especially since we've never used that before as a bully bat, which is what it appears to be being used now. So I want to ask you, Mayor, just consider when we have the town hall meeting, allowing the citizens to speak. We don't need to hear any more from the elected officials. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, this is Kathy Wilson. I'd just like to amen on everything Wanda said. I could not get on Zoom myself, and it has really messed up my computer. I'm going to have my son come over and fix it for me. But I've gotten on it before, but I couldn't get on it tonight. So I was going to give you guys a kudos on the last meeting, but you sure blew that by what you went through tonight. That's all to say.
Oh, are you done?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, one more thing. I wouldn't have your job for all the tea in China.
I received that. All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, this is CJ from 920 Fontaine. I just had a couple of questions. Well, just one question. When is the town hall meeting? And will it be in person or will it be virtual?
It will be in person at the gymnasium rec center.
Okay, what date and time?
It'll be 6 o'clock on the 17th.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, that's 7 o'clock for the town hall meeting.
7 o'clock. I'm sorry, 7 o'clock.
On the 17th of September?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That was all.
Anyone else? That was going to be in my report, though. You would have gotten that information before you left. Anyone else? All right, then we will go back to the board meeting. Commissions and board reports, Public Safety Committee. Anyone here from Public Safety Committee? All right, then we'll go to Youth Commission.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
So we met August 17th. We have been meeting underneath the pool gazebo or next to the pool gazebo to practice social distancing. So anyone who would like to attend the Youth Commission meeting, that's where we will be. We have been posting on the city website as well. We did have two guests, Alderman James Carroll and Alderwoman Avant-Elliott. Thank you guys for coming. We discussed June and July of 2020's budget, as well as the events for the fiscal year of 2021 and the budget amount for each event. We also discussed the rec center's budget and finding out what they can provide and what they could not provide for our 2021 event. We were asked by Alderwoman Miranda Avant-Elliott to volunteer some time or donate some of our budget to a possible back to school event that the city may be hosting due to the Youth Commission being cut for as members. Our members prefer to donate time instead of our actual budget because our budget has already been cut. While practicing social distancing, the Youth Commission noticed that the golf course had not been cut So hopefully it has been addressed and cut by now. I did call to the Parks Department to see if the grass could be cut. So I have not followed up to drive by there to see if it has been cut. Hopefully it has. And that's all that we really have to report.
Okay, the grass has been cut.
Okay, great, great, great.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question. What I wanted to know, Mayor, because you'll have to direct the question. What did the rec center indicate how much, what support they can provide? And additionally, I wanted to advise the commission to possibly have all purchases to be maintained by the city just for accounting purposes. So I just wanted to speak to those two things because my understanding is that helmets and gift cards are not being held by the city. And I think for proper accounting purposes, we may need to have that held by the city. But I did have a question about whether or not the rec center, what did they indicate that they were able to support based on the last discussion?
I have not received a response. Martha is online. So hopefully Martha can provide some direction as to what the rec center can or may not be able to provide for as food regarding their budget. Usually the rec center is the department that provides most of the youth events food. And there, as explained during the youth commission meeting, their budget had been cut as well. So that part, I have not received a response back yet.
Mayor, is it possible to ask Martha or Amy to share whether or not they can continue to support in that way? Because our initial vote was for their budget to be reduced because of the support that they also get from the rec center and potentially get from the public safety or the chief budget around community. Can you ask for either one of them to speak to that support?
Martha, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, as far as the budget, I'm sorry, I wasn't aware that you all had a meeting that you were discussing it, Alicia. We did decide to not have our Halloween event and the Easter event, just mainly due to the number of employees that it takes to run those and that no money comes in. We would certainly like to assist the Youth Commission in any way that we can because we all think that that's really important. But as far as budgeting, we just might have to get really creative working with you all to figure out what can we provide to the residents. We'd be happy to do that if you want to give me or Amy a call. I think Amy usually attends your meetings. Was she not there at the last one? Okay. Okay. Well, I'll speak with Amy and we can try to get back with you before the next Youth Commission meeting.
Perfect. Thank you, Martha. Any other questions?
One last request. Could you all, do you have any disaggregated data of the normal attendees at the events that you all had over the course of either last year or the previous year? You've never heard like numbers of participants. So like if it's the fishing derby, like how many?
Yeah, we have those. We can get that to you if you want.
Okay, thank you.
So usually we do present with each, I apologize, I was not the chair at that time. However, we normally do provide how many participants that we had at each event. So we'll have some data to compare last year from this year to figure out what events work and which ones do not, which ones we can swap out and come up with creative, new, different events. So I can get you that information if you guys do not have it. Anyone else?
Yes, I have a question. Hi, Alicia.
Hi.
And Mayor, this is basically for you and Alicia. It was suggested that the Youth Commission, that they make their expenses through, I guess, City Hall for years. And even when one person was on the commission and was removed for lack of attendance, the youth commission should not have to go and can I purchase this? Can I purchase that? We have a chair over the commission, and I think she's doing a really good job. And she has been doing this now for maybe a year or so and has already been on the commission. So I think the individuals that are on the commission, that they spend the money wisely and that we do not cut their budget anymore. This is to serve the youth in our community, and we want to give them as much support as they need. And as far as the supplies that may or may not be at City Hall or at the rec center, even with the Black History Celebration, there's not a lot of storage room, and we want to make sure that those items are kept in a safe place so they are being able to use when those events come up. There's no plan to say how they're going to be secured or where they're going to be secured or if there's any room for it to be secured. So this is for something for Alicia, you and the mayor to discuss, and mayor, moving forward, continue to allow the youth commission to delegate the money and spend the items that they need without being, how can I say, looked over by a particular alderwoman or person, you know, just so they can have information that may suit them. And, you know, so if you can think about that later on. So what you think about that, Alicia?
So I appreciate that. I would like to address why those items are not at City Hall. I did contact the city clerk at the time when the items were purchased, and how we began to utilize the gazebo next to the pool is because the door was locked at the time, and the youth commission was unaware that the door where we normally have our meetings would be locked. At that time, we were unaware that City Hall had even closed. It was later disclosed to me that due to the COVID events, that COVID testing that was going on was the reason why the doors were locked. So there was no storage, only because there were a lot of different items that were stored at that time in that room. So there was no way we could store the items at City Hall, and that has been addressed. So I apologize if the board is unaware of that, but that information was provided to the Youth Commission.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, the Imogen beautification.
May I make one comment, Mayor?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. Imogen Beautification will hold their citywide cleanup on Saturday, September 26th at 9 a.m. and meeting at the rec center in the morning to help clean up the streets in Bellefontaine neighbors. I'd like to see as many people there as can be there. Hopefully it'll be a nice day if we can get a lot done. And I have a lot of volunteers. The last one we had last year had a good amount of people. Community service hours are available. If someone needs those, they can come and we can, they can sign a paper for that. I'm sorry?
No, can proceed.
Oh, I would invite all the aldermen and alderwomen to attend if they're able to. Anyone else in the city, I hope to see a lot of people there. Image and Beautification Board would really appreciate it. That's all I have on that mission. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. Parks and Recreation Board.
I'm sorry, Mayor. This is Alderwoman West. I have my hand up. I missed the date. I thought it was the first Saturday in September. Can you give me that date again, Alderman Christian?
Saturday, September 26th, the last Saturday in September.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, Parks and Recreation.
Hello, everyone. Giving you an update on the rec center and the Park and Recreation Board. We have mailed our brochures out to all the residents. They should have gotten them earlier in August, and we've started registration for all of the fall programs. It's trickling in pretty well. The rec center is also distributing all of the masks that were donated by St. Louis County, and the residents and patrons are very appreciative of those masks that you all chose to distribute through the public. The transportation surveys are coming in. We plan to evaluate those closer to the end of the month. We're hoping to give more residents time to come up and be a part of programs before we finish evaluating those. We finished the 3-year van audit a couple of weeks ago, and that went fairly well. We are working on communication between departments to make sure that we are all in line with our maintenance issues, and we are also updating our drug and alcohol policy to accommodate MoDOT's requirements for the van grant. We're still continuing to discuss the repairs for the outdoor pool. We turned in the assessment for the Passport to the Arts program. I turned that in last week, and so we're waiting to hear back with their response. And then we discussed the situation with the lack of a chairperson, and we hope to settle this matter fairly soon. Some of it might depend on us getting a director in place, but the situation is a little unique, so we hope you all bear with us during this time. And then lastly, I would just like to offer a word of thanks to all of our part-time employees at the rec center, those that work in the office, the lifeguards. They have all been taking such extra precautions to make sure that all of our patrons stay safe during this COVID crisis. They're doing additional cleaning. They meet everyone at the door and welcome them. And it's turned out to be a silver lining in an otherwise really serious, concerning situation. And I think the people that come up to the rec center are feeling that they're cared for and they feel safe. And I would just really like to thank our employees for going the extra mile and providing that for the residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have my hand up.
Okay, proceed.
Martha, I have some questions.
Sure.
Are individuals' temperature taken at the front door?
Yes.
And what is the transportation survey?
Oh, that was something brought to us from the board where they wanted to know the age group of the participants coming up and how they accessed the rec center. Did they drive? Did they get a ride from someone? Did they take the city van? Did they walk? Did they take the maybe metro bus? Things like that to evaluate whether the rec center was actually accessible to the residents.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Can you email that to me? Apparently I must have missed out on that email. Can you email that to me when that was sent to you? Okay.
Sure.
And the other question is, it was something you said. I forgot what it was when you was going on. I didn't write it down. But if it is, I'll just call you tomorrow. And thank you for everything. So if you can email me that, because I must have missed out on that.
Sure.
That survey. Oh yeah, the other question was, this was the first time that the brochure went out that we didn't receive a copy of it. So before it is mailed to the citizens, can you make sure that Amy send a copy of the brochure to the alder people, please?
I will mention that to her. I thought she had reached out to the board. I will double check with Amy and see what that policy has been and mention your concern.
Normally before, this is the first time that the board did not receive a copy of the brochure before it was sent out. So since she edit it, could you make sure that she sends it out to the whole board and share all information with the whole board that may be sent individually to your staff.
Okay, I'm writing this down. Okay, I will speak with Amy tomorrow and we will get back with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderman Carroll.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Martha a question about the pools we have. Is anybody certified as an aquatic facility operator at the rec center?
Yes, I am.
You're the one that's okay. And then I would assume like the model aquatic health code is being used and implemented over there, or not, or
What are you referring to? The Model Aquatic Health Code?
it's published by the CDC. It is, I can send you a link right now.
Well, what we do is we follow the St. Louis County Health Department guidelines, and they are really quite strict. From what I understand, St. Louis County, they are much stricter than a lot of other organizations, and that's who we are required to follow. We also follow recommendations by the company that certifies our lifeguard, StarGuard. So, and they pull a lot of their information from the CDC. That's what they base it on. So does the Red Cross. So I think all those companies tend to work together to make sure that the pools are all run in an efficient and safe manner.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Alderwoman Elliott.
Okay, I wanted to ask what positions they still have vacant, so we would know as a board.
Well, the director position is still vacant. I'm not sure what positions that the board has chosen to fill.
We only eliminated the office manager and the assistant aquatics that you all were on the meeting and said that was fine. So what other positions do you still have vacant?
Right now, I believe it's just the director position then.
Okay,
right now.
and all other positions are filled.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'll just ask the mayor in his report about the status of the director.
I do have something to add real quick about the director position. Amy did get permission to advertise for that opening on the Missouri Parks and Recreation Association website, which will really get it in touch with a lot of people that do that, and that is their profession. And so we hope to get some applicants through that site. I think Amy was just able to post that earlier this week.
Oh, were you aware that it was already 5 applications?
I was aware that there was a few.
Yeah, it was about 4 or 5 already that we didn't know existed until I requested the information, but no recommendation had come forth. So we don't know what happened with the process. So that's why I was saving it for the mayor's report.
Okay.
And just for clarification, as far as process, in most municipalities, the mayor and the city is the facilitator of the news. And so if the mayor chooses to disseminate, he can do so. We did not vote on the process around drafts. So if the mayor decides that he wants to send out a draft, that will be on him, because it's normally a city facilitated newsletter. We just approved to adopt me assisting with the editing of it and the development on our side, but we did not vote on the process per se, just for clarification.
I feel like I can speak for Amy that it would really be helpful if a decision could be made as far as what the procedure should be, so that she is clear in fairness to her.
Right, then it'll be fair. One last clarifying question, because we have had some concern via email. Based on your experience, had you recall the board ever using the facilities at the auditorium without there being a board approval? Fence.
I really am not sure about that.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Chapman.
Yes. Good evening, Martha. Thanks for a
Hi.
great report. I would also ask that if you would send me the information concerning the survey for the rideability. I didn't receive that either. I would have to take a look at that also.
Okay,
For
of
the
course I will.
the transportation piece.
I will send it. I'll send it out to everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes, I would just like to take this opportunity to thank Martha and Amy and the staff at the rec center for sticking with it during this COVID pandemic. And, you know, it's got to be something to think. And with me being a COVID survivor, that you all keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, thank you. See, where are we here? Planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning is scheduled to have a meeting. Its next meeting on Monday, September 14th. That'll be at 7 p.m. at City Hall. Masks will be required, and the boardroom is set up to maintain social distancing. We will have an application for an in-home child care as a home occupation for 9961 Northampton Drive. They have submitted all the required paperwork, and the applicant will be there at our meeting. The city attorney has forwarded information relevant to the nuisance ordinance that was passed recently concerning the location of basketball hoops. We will discuss where attached and freestanding basketball hoops can or should be located to maximize distance to neighboring lots, and where in the zoning code it makes sense to insert that language. We'll also be discussing existing sign ordinances as they relate to freedom of speech, especially section 29-91 residential signs. City attorney and I have started corresponding on this subject to explore possible changes and their ramifications. We have examined the 2 court decisions suggested by Alderman Carroll. This is an ongoing discussion. I don't expect that we will decide on anything definite on Monday the 14th, but we will move forward with this. At the last meeting, we were expecting Jim Hennessy, the owner of the property at 10223 Lewis and Clark, at our last meeting, but since it was storming pretty badly, he did not show. I don't know yet if he's planning on attending the new meeting. And that's all I have for now.
Thank you. If there are no questions, we'll move on.
Mayor,
Yes.
you have 2 people with their hands up. Could you click on participants on your screen and you'll be able to see the hands up? I know. Okay, Alderman Carroll was first.
Yeah, I just have a question, and I don't know if this is directed to the city attorney or the planning and zoning chair, but I'm just going to ask it, and then whoever wants to answer it can answer it. But I took a webinar with Missouri Municipal League, and it was on planning and zoning, and it was talking about, I know our planning and zoning commission is combined, and it's not a planning commission and a zoning commission. But with that, according to the statute, it says that there needs to be at least 7 members on that planning commission. And in our ordinance, it says the planning and zoning is only requiring 6 citizen members. And could anyone just speak to that, or am I interpreting that wrong, or do we need to be adjusting our ordinances, or what?
Well, we do have ex officio members. Not sure. I'd have to take a look in the ordinance, but we have 6 citizen members, and I believe the mayor can form the 7th member.
But would that need to be spelled out because he and the mayor and the board member and or the alder person selected by the board, those are spelled out as ex officio members, and with that, there's really no right to vote. I'm just asking for clarification. Do we need to more specify that the mayor's going to be a member of that commission, or do we even need to be worrying about the 7 or what?
Well, in my experience, we've never experienced a tie, so I guess the matter's never come up.
Okay, city attorney, can you speak to that, or could you get back with me on that, or?
Yes, we can certainly take a look at it, Alderman Carroll. It's not an issue that's come to our attention before.
All right, thank you.
Alderwoman Elliott.
All right, for clarification, planning and zoning alderperson rep is a voting member, but the public safety alderman rep is not, based on our ordinance. So that may be a clarifier for that. I wanted to ask Pat about section 1723. Right now, do we have any amendment to that? Because right now it indicates that the police can temporarily close streets. So did we have any amendment to that allows it to be a longer term than temporary? Because, you know, I think it'll be a concern if we spend over $7,000 for fixtures that's only going to be temporary. So has there been any amendment to that particular section that would allow it to be more than temporary that you're aware of?
Going from memory, and I was not involved in 1723, but I believe it's temporary for a period of 12 months.
Okay.
And right now, that's the barrier up there at Cabot and Bissell Hills. We are considering some other barriers in Ward 4 to cut off access from the city of St. Louis. It's not a very good answer, but it's about as good an answer as I could give you right now.
So who determined the 12 months? Because the section only says temporary. So is there something else that specifies the length of time? Because no matter what ward it is, to know that we're going to spend a significant amount of money for something to be temporary is not a wise decision unless we rent something. Or can barriers be rented that you know of?
Well, these, and perhaps the chief could chime in, but these would be portable to where they could be reused in other locations if we decide that it could be better used elsewhere.
Okay, but right now it's 12 months.
I'm going from memory, but yeah, I believe it's 12 months.
Do you want me to make a comment on that, Pat?
Please, yes.
Temporary is kind of subjective. I'm the one that mentioned 12 months. There is nothing in ordinance that defines what temporary is. However, I do suggest that the board consider either amending or introducing a new ordinance to permanently block streets. It's just something that we don't have an ordinance and something that we probably will be using at some point in the future.
I think with that in mind, I think typically, and we will have to get verification, unless we indicate including barriers that was approved under the current ordinance, then, you know, it will only be those barriers that will be placed going forth, you know, so we would have to tailor it in a way that it captures anything we've already placed, because technically what has been approved is with this ordinance that currently exists, which is temporary. So if 12 months for $7,000, $8,000, for something that's temporary, I don't care that it can be used somewhere else, you know, that doesn't make sense. That's why I recommended that it go through public safety, planning and zoning to make sure all those things were vetted. It was not to block it, but to make sure that the process was complete, so we wouldn't be having a situation like this where it's done backwards. And now we need an ordinance to support something that's already been approved versus the ordinance preceding that process. But yeah, thank you. That's the clarification that I needed on that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderwoman Dales. Alderwoman
Sorry,
Dales.
Mayor, Dinah's hand was up before mine.
Alderwoman Chapman.
Yes, I just want to further clarify that the issue that we voted on the last meeting was to place those barriers up on those particular streets under the current ordinance that we have. I like what the chief stated, that we need to take a look at making a more concrete ordinance that would pertain the full safety of all of our citizens. And if both areas at Cabot and the additional 6 streets, if those items can be portable, i.e. or the ordinance does not state that after a certain length of time, and we just solidified it was 12 months, that cannot be reenacted. So I would say that public safety shouldn't have a price on it. And I think I would be happy to work with the chief and anybody else on maybe presenting a new ordinance where we can use this type of traffic enhancement, i.e. crime prevention model that would help offer safety for our citizens.
Alderwoman Elliott. Dales. Elise.
Thank you, Mayor. The chief and I spoke about the ordinance when we were talking about the street barriers, and we can amend it. We just put, which I care and the chief cares, we do put the safety of our citizens first. So the ordinance can be amended, and hopefully, if it's okay with you, that if I speak with chief and work with Dinah and Attorney Coleman, so we can get an amendment, because the barriers that have already been purchased are permanent barriers. The items have already been, Michael just said, I think he's waiting on the concrete and everything. Everything has already been purchased. So we can get an ordinance in place for that. We just want to make sure that our citizens are safe, and maybe has nothing to do with what Pat said, but just so individuals and the citizens on the line, mostly everyone in that area has reached out to me, and just into those that voted for it, just thank them beyond measure because of the issues that they're having, and they really, really appreciate that you put their safety first. That's all I have.
Mayor, can I speak?
Yes, you can.
I believe those barriers have not been purchased. I think we're waiting for authorization to do so.
Mayor, can I say something? He just sent me a text tonight stating that, let me get to his text.
I believe he sent a letter dated August 22nd with a scope of work, general qualifications, exclusions, pricing, etc. But I don't know that anything's been authorized or ordered.
Wait a minute, I can get to the text that he said that. Oh, here we go. I have the signs here. I have yet to release the concrete company to start production. I still need the layout of the streets. This is for Ward 4 barrier. So he's purchased some of the items for it. So this is what he just sent me tonight.
Okay.
Alderwoman West.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for clarification, I believe Alderwoman Avant-Elliott stated the safety committee worked with the chief of police. That being said, Alderman Carroll is now the aldermanic rep for the safety committee. So he should be the person that would work on this endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Elliott.
I just want to make a point of clarification.
Go right ahead, please. You muted.
The board, okay, I'm sorry. The board has approved the barriers. Now is incumbent on the purchasing director to facilitate the bidding process for that. We are no longer involved until that bidding process is complete and he's bringing back the lowest bids. So we're talking about something that is now on the administrative side. So the board has approved for it to be purchased. Now is on the administrative side for that process to be facilitated, whereby he bring us the bids according to the ordinance. So I think we're moving in a process that may not be correct. I'm just making that point of clarification.
Thank you. Pat, go right ahead.
In terms of bid, I believe the model used at Cabot was applied here again. There were two different vendors for these barriers, and it was found, I believe this might be Keenstra, to be overall the more economical. The Cabot barrier, I guess, was the prototype cost-wise in this particular case. So I in some sense, I think we've already done that.
It hasn't been presented to the board. We don't have any bids. No, they voted on an amount, but that is voting on the amount is not voting on a bid of, or that hadn't been presented to the board. Like 3 vendors that would do the work, who the vendor is, that was not a part of the motion. The motion was just, can I get these barriers for estimated at $7,000 such dollars, but not, here are 3 vendors that have been submitted a quote. We haven't experienced that as a board. So that's a process that's missing. I don't know what you all have. We don't have it in our packet.
Pat, get with me tomorrow on that.
Okay.
Mayor, when we submitted the information, it was in the packet. There was 2 options, and we went with, I think, the lower option. It was sent to the board. It's in their packet, but you can get with Pat tomorrow because it was in there. It had 2 separate amounts, and I guess those might be the 2 companies that Michael works with, but he did have 2 separate amounts in there. And I don't know if it's multiple things that he's purchasing within that amount. So it's not just the concrete barriers, it's multiple things that are involved in that. So Pat and you and Michael could probably get together and, divide what may need a bid, but it was already in there.
Okay.
Okay, thank
you. Do you wish to speak again? Your hand's up. So, all right, let's, thank you. Pat, are you finished?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Approval of the invoices over 500. Is there a motion, somebody?
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott has her hand up.
Go right ahead.
Okay, Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve the over 500s for a total of $6,191.28. I will put the motion in the chat.
Okay. Alderman Carroll.
A second.
Okay. It is moved and properly second that we would pay the over 500. Roll call vote.
Alderwoman West,
I'm sorry, just a point of order for the question.
Any further discussion?
I just had a quick question, Mayor. We had, I don't know if you recall that a item was removed from the previous over 500 for further investigation.
I gotta take you off speaker.
And what was removed was the cleaning contract. And so I did not know if you had further information so that can be placed back on the over 500s the next time we have to approve them, because that was not approved to be paid before for further investigation is what Alderwoman Reed's motion was. So did you have any additional information supporting the contract, the qualifications or whatever for the cleaning?
What I know is that when the young lady had the accident who was doing that and was paralyzed from the waist down, that we did call in a cleaning company. And the cleaning company told us that, you know, they looked at the size of our building and what have you, that we don't want, I mean, you don't want to hire us. Because if you hire us, then we got to charge you for the person that we send. We have to charge you transportation. We have to charge enough for overhead and a number of other things. And so what we did was looked internally, and we hired somebody from streets who took care of the job for a while, and then he could no longer do it. And then we hired someone else from streets and now in Park and Rec to do it. Now, if you want to contract it out to somebody, it's quite all right with me. But I can tell you, it's going to cost you a heck of a lot more than what you're paying now.
Thank you.
All right, so let's proceed with the well, we got a motion and a second.
Roll call.
yes, I was about to do the roll call, Mayor.
Go right ahead and do the roll call then.
Okay, Alderwoman West.
I'm sorry, but my hand was raised because I have a question.
Okay.
So is Mr. Jefferson being contracted out for this position?
No, it's just like what we've always had. Someone internally does that, and that's extra work. Cleaning the police cars, cleaning the jail, cleaning all, you know, whenever hazardous waste get on it, you have someone, they does that, and they're trained to do it.
Okay, so I guess my question is, on his, I'm gonna call it a time sheet, it looked more like a time sheet for someone who is employed by the city, such as the building department, street department, etc., as opposed to someone who is contracted with the city. And so I think there needs to be a difference in how he shows the hours that he has worked, because the timesheet that he submitted was very confusing to me.
Mayor, may I answer that?
Yes, please.
Okay. Alderwoman West, he has 2 timesheets, and yeah, and one of them says cleaning, and the other one is his street, well, now it's Parks and Rec timesheet. So he turns in 2 separate ones. So I don't know which one you might be referring to or that you saw or whatever, but he has 2. And it's the same recording that the other person, the 2 people before him, turned in the same type of sheet.
Okay, so, and this question is directed, I guess, to you since you answered it. So on the timesheet that he submitted, it had like detailing of the courtroom.
Okay. So what's your question? Did he detail the
I
courtroom?
don't know what detailing means for a courtroom.
Okay, the chambers there, excuse me, in the chambers, the judge had asked him to go in there each time something happens in there, and she had people working in there, so she wanted him to go in there each night and sanitize because of COVID-19. So that's what he meant by detailing. He go in each time and detail the courtroom, clean it.
Okay, you know, we have really a bad problem of communication between people who have been appointed as opposed to people who are on the board as board members. And I guess at some point, we need to correct this because it's causing and creating all kinds of problems that could easily be resolved if things were submitted in the manner in which they should be. So, you know, that's my comment, but thank you for the information. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Avant-Elliott.
I just want to say for clarification, he is serving as a contractor. That's why his timesheet was on the over 500s. He's not getting extra service pay, correct?
Is he getting extra service pay?
Service pay. He's just getting a check as a contractor would get for doing the work, separate from the regular job. So it was stated that it was extra work as if he was getting extra service pay, which I know has to be approved by the board. So because we outside of overtime for salaried people, I don't think that's normal. So it was on the over 500 because that amount went over 500, but he might have been paid before when it was under that amount. So we would not know because we still have not gotten the under 500s that we requested. Is that correct?
That sounds correct. That one that you guys saw, yes, it was over 500, so that's why it was included in that.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Alderman Dales. Alderman Dales.
You know what? I'll wait and I'll go back and review because I just want to ask and I'll ask the attorney later. The questions that are being asked were never asked of the previous employee. So I just want to, I'll go back and do a review before I ask, would there be discrimination against Troy? Okay. I'll just wait.
All right.
Just wait.
Thank you. Roll call vote.
Yes.
You have to vote, right?
Right. I need to do the roll call. Alderwoman Dale's, your hand still up? Were you done?
She's done. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Alderwoman West. Alderwoman Tapman.
Yes.
Alderman Carroll.
Yes.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes.
Alderman Christian. Alderwoman Dales.
Yes.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Yes, the other parties are muted.
Alderwoman West.
Yes.
Alderman Christian is still muted. So you have all yes except one there.
Call him again.
Alderman Christian.
Okay.
I said yes earlier.
You were muted.
Yes?
Okay, thank you.
I show unmuted. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Go ahead and give it a count. I think it's all.
All yes, Mayor.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chief's report.
So thank you, Mayor. Starting off with our body worn camera program is in full swing. when you see our uniformed police officers, they will be wearing a device that looks like this. It's about the size of a deck of cards. They'll be wearing it around center chest, maybe a little bit lower off to the side. If you go to the city's website, under departments, police, and body-worn cameras, there is a narrative there that kind of discusses the grant, what's been accomplished, and most important of all, there is a link to our body-worn camera policy that our police officers follow. They've all been trained to use the device since we enacted it on August 26th. I've been getting a lot of emails. The office has been getting a lot of calls along with City Hall. If you need police service, non-emergency, meaning that it's not a 911 call, we highly recommend that you call the non-emergency numbers, either 314-889-2341 or 636-529-8210. The reason is, even I get a lot of requests through email for patrol to do certain activities, to follow up on certain issues that I would delegate out, and that may not be done in as a timely manner as it should. So I do prefer that you do call that number, because you can get in touch with the police officer immediately to address the issue that you're having. The I-270 North project is starting to really move into Bellefontaine neighbors. I posted an update from MoDOT on our Facebook page. And in short, on September 8th, which is Tuesday, around 9 a.m., MoDOT will be closing the Bellefontaine Road entrance ramp to westbound I-270 at Dunn Road. The closure, according to their statement, will remain in place for about 2.5 months. Westbound traffic will detour using northbound Dunn Road to the intersection with Benham Road, and then you would take southbound 367 to get to 270. I encourage you to go to i270north.org if you haven't done so already, and it describes the plan in detail. It's got maps, graphs, pictures, and a simulation of what they're doing throughout the entire corridor, including in Bellefontaine neighbors. There was a mention about the prosecution of crimes. I'm assuming the prosecution of crimes was in reference to municipal court. As of right now, the municipal court, we haven't held a court setting in I don't know how long. The judge has told me that she is in charge of the court process, and I haven't been updated as to when the next time court will be held. So if there's an issue on the prosecution side, not having court would be a big part of that issue. I did hear the complaint about the speeding at Waldorf and Dinky. I will add that to our extra patrol list, and I don't make excuses, but here's how this works. We answer many calls for service, and we also get a lot of special requests. All of them extra patrol, whether it's a person's home, whether it's a speed monitoring issue, and so on and so forth. We put them in a database, so when the patrol officers patrol their sector, they go through the list of these requests, and they do drive-bys, they do monitors, but they can't sit in one place for hours on end. They do have to move around because they do have other obligations. But that will be there on the list for them to address on the south end there. I'm a little bit discombobulated with all the discussion at the beginning of this meeting. According to the agenda I have, it talks about the Academy sponsorship. Has that been moved off the agenda? Has it been moved to a different place? Or am I talking about it under my report?
Talk about it in your report, please.
Okay. I brought it up in a previous meeting, actually several previous meetings, but the one last, it was requested that this be on the agenda for official approval. I am asking the board to approve interest only to sponsor a cadet to attend the police academy. It's interest only. There is no commitment, but the approval of interest will allow me to move forward with vetting some applicants that are very promising individuals to work here to diversify our police department. But without your expressed interest, there would be no sense in me moving forward with the hiring process of those individuals.
Alderman Carroll, you're muted.
I'm typing the motion right now.
Just a point of order. It's still under the new business. It still exists under new business. Once we get to that.
Do you? What do you want me to do at this point?
Mayor, I had a question.
What's your question?
Okay, Chief, I'm sorry, I hear an echo. I was looking at the reimbursement agreement. So it's indicating that we would do the $45,000 living allowance. Could you explain that a little bit more, and what budget item would that be coming from?
So the money's already budgeted. We have two positions that are vacant. Both are budgeted. Both starting at pay scale level 1 would be 50,000. We also have on that pay scale a recruit living allowance of $45,000. If you read the agreement, it's called a living allowance, and it explicitly states that the person is not doing anything productive on behalf of this city. They're actually attending training, and there is a legal issue of why that contract was designed the way it was, and it had to do with I don't know, have to do with work comp or a certain level of lawsuits. City Attorney, I know you haven't seen this contract, but do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure I am. I know what you're speaking about, Chief.
And because this contract was written a few years back, and it was written as a training contract where they were receiving a living allowance. There was a difference between that salary and certain rights and privileges because they weren't actually doing work on behalf of the city. They were attending training. And honestly, I'm trying to remember why exactly it was written that way. But at this point, it kind of escapes me.
So is it something that needs to continue in that agreement, or?
The agreement can change at the will of the board. I would vet it through the city attorney first. When I originally did it, it was vetted through 3 sources: labor attorney, city attorney, and our risk and liability insurance carrier.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to revet it, that's fine by me. It was the terms and conditions at the time that were agreeable by not only those parties, but the board in general. But it wouldn't change the board's approval of interest at this point, as that contract can change.
Okay, so
I'm sorry, but you were not recognized to speak yet. Alderman Carroll.
oh, no, you did recognize me.
Alderman Carroll, will you finish with your inquiry?
He was typing and you acknowledged me, Mayor, while
Oh,
he was typing.
and this hand is still, go ahead.
Okay, so so this agreement won't go to that person if we agree on posting them, because we would then need to revet this agreement as well. Is that correct?
So, okay, so as for the purpose of what I'm asking for tonight, that agreement doesn't have anything to do with what I'm asking. So
Okay.
that agreement can change. So the purpose tonight is if the board approves interest in sending somebody to the police academy,
Which you say
that would give me the green light to start doing backgrounds and hiring processes on people who do not have police academy training. When we get to the point where we have vetted people who would be good candidates for employment here to go to the academy, then I would reintroduce the topic to the board for approval to actually send somebody. So between now and then would be the time to take a look at that contract and make any changes the board sees fit and reasonable to do so, and solidify that contract before we approve to send somebody through the academy, because once they sign that document, it is binding.
Okay, and for the body cameras, do you have, is there a protocol for the body cameras as far as when they are to turn it on, when they are to turn it off? Is that something that exists in the policy already?
Yeah, like I said, if you go to the city's website under departments, police, body worn cameras, you'll see a link about a third of the way down the page. It says Bellefontaine Neighbors Body Worn Camera Policy. The entire policy is there for you to review. It's about 12 pages long.
Okay.
But yes, it does include provisions for privacy, activation and deactivation, and so on and so forth.
Okay, and just for the
And
public.
that policy, just to make, just so you're aware, that policy was developed with the federal government, most of which was based on their required guidelines. So this was not something that I developed alone. This was developed with the federal government because we got a grant for this project that paid for all the body worn cameras and the storage.
Okay, there's a ordinance that's on the agenda as well that have you listed as the signee. Is that typical? Because I thought that the mayor would sign everything, the ordinance around the agreement with the United States Department. They have you as the signee on the
that's from the Department of Justice.
Okay.
That's not something that we designed. That's something that I, as the chief law enforcement officer, I sign off on that.
Okay, that's what I needed clarification on.
Correct.
All right, one last question. So citizens have asked about neighborhood watch, and I think you've shared before that if they started a neighborhood watch, that you will be willing to attend. Is that still on the table?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I've talked about that time and time again. If people want to put together a meeting, just call the police department or let me know, and we will prepare information for you. We'll make sure that the police are there and discuss the problems that are happening in the neighborhood. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes, to help the chief out with the clarification for if you're going to send someone to the police academy, you don't want them working at McDonald's at night and missing their studies. You don't want them working at Quick Trip and missing their studies. Their focus has to be on the police academy so that we can have the best officer, male or female, that can come and do the job for us. And I'm sure that next phase, when we talk to them and we contract with them because we sent them to the academy, our hope is that they'll stay with us throughout their police career. Thank you.
All right. Anything else, Chief?
I know I requested, and I believe you asked to have put on the agenda the request for the backup server I sent an email out to the board as well. The copy of the agenda I have does not have that on there. Was that removed or never put on?
Well, I asked what to be put on, so it doesn't look like it was ever put on.
It was put on.
Where is
It's on
it?
that, it's on that second agenda that was done. It was on there.
Okay,
It's under new business, D, item number D under new business.
Okay. I'll wait till D then, because I only have A, B, and C. I must be looking at an older copy. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's proceed. Oh, are you finished, Chief? Okay.
Unless you have any more questions for me, sir.
No more questions.
Thank you.
City Attorney.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
It was brought to my attention that some of the city's boards, committees, and/or commissions may not be following the provisions of the Sunshine Law, specifically Section 610.020, with respect to how they are conducting their meetings. And we've talked some about this tonight. Specifically, that provision requires that 24 hours notice be given of any meeting, and that notice be posted on the city's website and on the front door, along with an agenda of the items that will be covered at the meeting. Once the meeting convenes, there must be a quorum to conduct business, and minutes shall be taken and maintained by the body. All committees, commissions, or boards appointed by or at the direction of the city are required to adhere to the requirements of the Sunshine Law. And if anyone has any confusion about those requirements, please contact me, because the law does provide that upon a finding by preponderance of the evidence that the public body or the member has violated the Sunshine Law, they can be subject to a civil penalty in an amount up to $1,000. Additionally, in certain instances where the violation is found to be willing, the individual or the city can be ordered to pay attorney's fees and costs. So it is important that we all adhere to the requirements of the Sunshine Law, because they're easy requirements to follow. But if you don't follow them, you could subject the city or the individual who violates the law to liability. Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing further.
Thank you. Unfinished business. All righty. New business. Comments from Michael Weezy? Is Weezy on the line?
Mayor,
Yes.
a point of order. So this is where the chief approval for the interest to sponsor a candidate replaced that, and Michael Weezy comments is now under your mayor's report. So that was the change that was approved earlier. So we could proceed with the motion to approve the mayor's right there for A, because that was moved to under the mayor's report, the comments.
So this is where we move to approve the chief's request for showing interest in the academy. All right, you give me a motion, somebody.
Mayor, I got my hand up.
All right, go right ahead.
I move for our chief of police be given approval to extend a letter of interest to sponsor a candidate to the police academy.
May I have my hand up to second?
Alderwoman Dales, okay.
I second that motion.
All right, moved and properly second. Are there any further discussion? Then call the roll, my dear.
Okay, Alderwoman West,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman,
Yes.
Alderman Carroll,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas,
Yes.
Alderman Christian,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales,
Yes.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Yes.
All yes, Mayor.
Okay, so Alderwoman Dales on approval of additional expenses.
No, that was removed from the agenda.
Bill number 2595. Alderwoman Dales.
I would like to make a motion for the first and second reading for bill number 2595, an ordinance authorizing agreement with the United States Department of Justice.
Alderman Carroll.
I second.
Are there any further discussion?
I got a question.
Go right ahead.
This is directed to our chief. Can you tell me how many drug arrests are made in the city each year? Just a rough estimate.
I couldn't even begin to tell you what a rough estimate on that would be.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All right.
Yeah, I had my hand up, Mayor. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just had a quick question for Chief as well. So is this something that is mandatory for us to do? What's the significance or importance?
Oh my God.
So this is basically every year there is a renewal contract with the Department of Justice for our DEA task force officer. It's just formality. It doesn't change every year, but it outlines the responsibilities on both sides. So it's something that's done annually.
All right. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales,
Yes.
Alderman Christian,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas,
Yes.
Alderman Carroll,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman,
Yes.
Alderwoman West.
Yes.
All yes, Mayor.
All righty. Thank you. So,
Mayor, may I proceed with the second reading?
I'm sorry. Proceed.
I would like to make a motion for the passage of 2595, an ordinance authorizing the agreement with the United States Department of Justice.
Alderman Carroll.
I second.
Are there any further discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman West,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman,
Yes.
Alderman Carroll,
Yes.
Alderman Thomas,
Yes.
Alderman Christian,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales,
Yes.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Yes.
Okay, the majority of the Board of Aldermen voted 7-0 on bill number 2020-2595, which will become ordinance number 2588, when and if signed by the mayor.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor's report, very briefly. Let me start with the board workshop with Pat Kelly of the Muni League will be held Tuesday, September the 8th at 6 p.m. at City Hall in the boardroom. We will wear a mask and we will have it set up 6 feet apart, the seating. Also, there's a carnival at the corner of 367 and Chambers and they passed all of the county inspections. They also was contacted by the county health department, and they were given instructions to lay out a COVID-19 plan. They proceeded with that, so they'll be operating there until Tuesday. They'll be packing up Tuesday of next week. I want to thank Alderman Christian for spearheading that the Ways and Means Committee. The Ways and Means Committee will help us move our meeting and city forward, because some of the things that we do a lot of talking about will be vetted in the Ways and Means Committee. And so I want to thank him for proceeding with that. It is my hope and wish that that our meetings can be more friendlier, more business-like, and so that we can come in and discuss our business and move forward and move in the best interest of the city. That is all I have to report tonight. We'll move to report of the alderman.
Okay,
Mr.
Mayor, we
Mayor?
need to do 12D for that thing for the chief.
May I have my hand up? You're also supposed to discuss about the barriers. But I think Michael spoke with someone about discussing, he's not feeling well. So he asked someone to speak on his behalf. And I think the chief also has a comment on it, as well as myself, since it was moved under your report.
All right, go right ahead, whoever's to speak.
Well, I read the information. I'll speak first. That Michael gave us the information. He did send in additional requests for $33.28 for shipping, and PM fees for $795.04, which will need board approval. And I asked for that to be done today so he can move forward. After the chief, and I don't know if it's Pat that's going to make a comment on it, I would like to make a motion so we can approve the additional amount, and we still will continue moving forward with the ordinance, for it to be a permanent, because they will be a permanent barrier for those areas.
Is there a second to the motion?
No, I haven't made it yet. I think the chief and Pat probably may want to speak on it.
Alderwoman Elliott, I see your hand up.
Yes, Mayor. Under your report, remember I indicated that I would ask you, or the candidates that we have applications for the director or rec, are they being reconsidered or being re-interviewed so that position can be filled? What was the status of that? And then I just want to know what was the status of the community block grant as well.
Okay, well, no, they're not being re-interviewed. We're doing a nationwide search, and we're going to see if we can get some more applicants. And as far as the grant, we're in line for that. I think in January or February.
Okay, and the flea market, did they have to get a permit from us?
They had to get a permit from us, yeah.
Okay, and that was approved.
That was approved, yes. Alderman, I'm sorry, Pat.
You're right. Mike Weezy is not feeling well tonight. He asked Jeremy and I to kind of speak on his behalf. Concerning the competitive bids, I believe the other bid that he had solicited at the Cabot was Midwest Precast. The successful bidder was Keenstra, and his pricing for these 6 barriers utilizes Keenstra's pricing on there. if there is a third precast operator, we can check into that. But generally, that's a large capital investment to go into that sort of business, but we will take a look at it.
Okay. Alderwoman Dales. Your hand's up.
I'm sorry, Mayor. I was waiting to see if Chief had a comment to make before I make my motion.
Yes, ma'am, I do have a comment. I know that there are some concerns about the spending of these monies, but from a policing standpoint, we are looking for other opportunities and other ways to deter crime, to keep our streets safe. This is one of those opportunities. What you're spending money on is an investment. Long term, and in the one that was just installed up at the shopping center, it is my hope and my knowledge of being a police officer here since the 1990s that will become a permanent barrier, because I firmly believe that it will cut down on a lot of the problems that area experiences. This is this similar issue that is happening at the southernmost tip of our city, where we have a lot of transients coming through our neighborhoods down there causing problems. And if we remove that access and we kind of contain that area for people who are only supposed to be in those neighborhoods, it's going to reduce traffic problems. It's going to reduce crimes. It's going to have a positive impact that works with our policing model. So as your chief law enforcement officer, I support this because of those reasons.
Mayor, can I make my motion now?
Yes, Alderwoman Elliott, wait just a second. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I just had a clarifying question for Chief. This is going on year 3 for me on the board, and all I've heard is about speed bumps. So in the history of me being here, no one has, a single alderperson has brought up barriers. So I'm just wondering, why is there a push for it versus the speed bumps that we approved the budget for, and people are still asking for speed bumps, and now it's just a process that is pending. I have not heard prior to now any conversation about a push for barriers. So what is the difference in the need for a barrier versus the speed bumps that people have constantly asked for, and the board approved a budget allocation for that? Would that not solve the same problems, or I'm just trying to understand the difference between the two.
All right, so first, the discussion about the barriers hasn't come up in years. I've worked here since the 90s, and it's come up several times with the board, and there was no interest in doing anything with those areas. I can't remember what the reason why, but we're talking years ago, well before 3 years ago. Number two, okay, you can install speed bumps, but installing the barriers removes the problem. So you're still going to have the volume of traffic coming through those neighborhoods, the volume of traffic that creates the problems. The speed bumps may slow down some of those problems, but those problems are still coming through those neighborhoods. If they can't get into the neighborhood, that makes an incredibly positive impact for the investment that you're making with those barriers.
Okay, thank you. I just know that I hadn't heard that conversation be brought up before now. Thank you.
All right, Alderwoman Dales.
I would like to make a motion that the board increase the processing of the barriers for the 6 streets of $828.32 to my.
Alderman Thomas.
I second her motion.
All right, any further discussion? Alderwoman Tatman. Okay.
Pat Barry got his hand up.
Okay, well, that's a couple other hands up. Pat, go ahead.
Alderwoman Dales, could you repeat that amount again, please?
Oh, I came up with $828.32, and that's because he added $33 for freight and $795.04 for the PM fees, which make it a total of $8745.44.
Okay, thank you. That's the figures I have too. Thank you.
Alderwoman West. Alderwoman West. You're on mute.
Okay, thank you. I guess I was going to address the fact that the price Alderwoman Dales gave just now was different from the amount that she sent in her email. But once Mr. Barrett asked her to correct that or asked her to repeat it, she then corrected the price. So that's why my hand was up.
Any further discussion? Alderwoman Elliott.
Yes, I was just wondering if we would be getting whatever the bids are of the 3 people who got the quotes. You asked Pat Barrett to get with you, but now a motion that has been removed off the agenda is being put forth. Will we have the courtesy of the quotes and then we vote on the lowest bid from there? Because I don't know what they're saying that they provided in the email is not in the packet. Is that process going to be followed where we get the 3 bids and the lowest company?
Well, we'll bid it out and see what we get.
Okay, well, she's trying to make a motion on an amount without that process.
Mayor,
So I'm just confused.
Mayor, my hand is up. The bids were, when we submitted it for the first amount, there were 2 options. And it was sent to the board and we chose the lower price. I think Pat and Leo talked about why they wanted the smaller round barriers because of the aesthetics of the neighborhood, and not the long ones that they had over by the Family Dollar. But there were 2 options on there. And it was sent to the board.
This is a different amount.
It was actually, the city clerk can verify if that was sent in the packet.
Okay, Alderwoman West.
Thank you, Mayor. So last week when this was brought up, there was no contract. There was no pricing with the exception of what Alderwoman Dales gave us. However, in this packet for today, we had I guess you could call it a contract, if you will, but this is the first time that I have seen a contract. Last week, there was nothing. So I don't know what Alderwoman Dales is referring to. If she could clarify that.
Mayor, may I clarify that?
Would you please?
It was sent in the packet. There were 2 options. And when Michael sent when Michael Weezy sent the breakdown, there were 2 separate amounts that was sent to the board. And we talked about the cheap, I think it was, I'm not sure, I think it might have been the cheaper price that he went with because they went with the smaller barriers. They went with the smaller barriers because Image and Beautification said the other ones were too high for them to maintain, but it was in the packet. The reason why we have the contract today is because Ms. Michael Weezy added the fees that he is adding on to design, implement, order. He's actually the project manager, the foreman. The only thing that our city is doing is that they will be putting the barriers up and putting the dirt in. He does all the measuring, everything that the engineer does when they set up a project like that, because you just can't go sit the things in the middle of the street. He has to do measuring and everything. And he's really giving our city a discount. And those are some of the fees why he put it in writing.
All right, Alderwoman Tatman.
So then for clarification then, this is this addendum to what we approved at the last meeting. Is that correct? And the
Correct.
addendum is to add on those additional costs?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Carroll.
I have a question for the city attorney. Mr. Weezy was an alder person previously, and this is, I'm just trying to, I'm not real clear on what was said at the training, but I believe, and I don't know if it's just lobbyists, but isn't there like a year-long period before like an elected official or an appointed official could be doing business with the city like this? I was under the impression he was donating his time, but Alderwoman Dales kind of mentioned his fees and whatnot. So I was just curious if you could provide some sort of clarification on that issue.
Well, the question I have is whether he's actually being paid for services.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I would direct that question to Alderwoman Dales.
To my knowledge, he has, when he did the first project, he told me that he used a lot of his money just to make sure that everything was done according to the way that he likes to do it. But this one here, because it's a lot bigger, I think he is adding some of his money in, but he says some of the fees would cover some of the things that he's doing. But he's already, you know, Michael has come over to the rec center and did the lighting and everything. There was never a question about the work that he did, but he did add these fees onto there. And Jeremy may be more specific about why the fees were added on. He or Pat may be more specific.
Pat.
It is only in this amount that we've been quoted that there's any project manager fees. It's a matter of 10% in this case. All previous work has been, with the exception of some very cheap electrical work he provided recently, at no cost to the city. I would also add that the materials that were used on Cabot, I believe he is still waiting for reimbursement.
Okay, Alderman West, Alderwoman West.
Excuse me, Mayor, could with that information, could the city attorney then advise about whether Mr. Weezy should be the project manager on this, since he was he was an alder person just a couple months ago?
It doesn't appear from what I've heard that he's being paid totally for his services. I'm trying to get some clarification on that.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. So what further? Who needs to clarify it?
Whoever has the information.
Let me interject here.
Go ahead.
With this quote, which is from Weezy Consulting Group, LLC, there are project manager fees of $795.04. That is 10% his costs. It's the only time that he's charged any project management fees. As you know, well, some of you know, he did quite a bit of electrical work at well below market rates on the sign that is on Bellefontaine and 270, particularly electrical work that had been burned out for who knows how long. I don't consider that as excessive, and considering the fact that he's not been reimbursed yet, I don't think he's taking advantage of the city, but I think he's trying to put the best foot forward, the best appearance forward for our city, because he wants us all to do well.
Pat, you just said reimbursed. There's a difference between being reimbursed and actually charging for your services. Are we talking about reimbursement here?
For the barrier at Cabot, that would be reimbursement. That would be for the concrete barriers, et cetera, that he paid for, including the bollards, which have not been put up yet on either side by the sidewalk, because we've had people drive around the barriers that have been delivered to the street department. I don't believe that he has seen a penny for the materials that he bought, including the barriers that are up there now.
All right, so he has not received payment, or he is not receiving payment for his services at market value.
Well, that was a different job, electrical work to redo the Bellefontaine neighbor sign at Bellefontaine and 270. That was a separate effort. The work up at Cabot, the barriers, there was no labor expended, no labor charged on that job. When he redid the electrical work himself, that was at about half market rate if one were to go out and hire an electrician. In this case, an electrician with an engineer's license.
If he is not being paid at market rate for his services, I don't believe there would be a conflict, but I'd like to look at the issue.
Certainly.
Given the circumstances, it doesn't appear to be one to me.
Certainly.
All right. Alderwoman Elliott.
Yes, for clarification, with the meeting agenda, it only has that document from WEC and not any company that shows 2 or 3 bids. So once again, that's why I inquired about the bidding process based on our ordinance. Additionally, we cannot be in the business of reimbursing after someone fulfills an obligation that the board never approves. So nothing was put on the agenda to approve any action to then say we're going to reimburse for it. So we can't do anything in reverse order where somebody say, I'm gonna do this and here you got to reimburse me for it. It got to be approved and then they do it. If not, a reimbursement is not an obligation of the board. So we're getting into muddy waters. Be concerned about a meeting being called 24 hours. And this is a process that's much more serious and have a potential concern than a meeting being called 24 hours. So we need to be careful to make sure that we are following our ordinances around purchasing, since all the people want to assure that we are following processes. So I just want to caution us that there is no additional quote in the packet that we received today. It only say WEC Consultant Group. So that means he's going to be the person facilitating this process and contracting out based on what I'm understanding, because there's no company listed other than WEC on here.
Mayor, may I make a comment to that?
Yes.
When it was first brought up for the 79, for the $7,972.12, there were 2 options again, and there were 2 separate prices, and it was sent to the board. And as far as reimbursement, I think that we're a city of morals, and we understand that we have an individual who is doing work for the city in which he lives in, and to suggest that we not reimburse an individual for the work that they have done is appalling. And we're not those type of citizens. We're not that type of community. And as far as the barriers were brought up when I was first elected. Bador did not want to protect the people over in Ward 4. And it has always been discussed. It was discussed before I went and spoke with them about that in that area. So the citizens matter what they want, not because of somebody hasn't heard, but the citizens matter, and you would have to reach out to them as they do reach out to me. And I just think it's appalling that we don't pay Michael back for the things that he has done for this city, because he has been more than gracious to us.
All right. Is there any further discussion? I don't see
I would
any.
like a roll call vote.
I beg your pardon?
Mary, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Mayor,
Okay.
real quick, I thought the city attorney wanted to check into this before we vote on this. I thought that's what, I think it might be more appropriate to give her the opportunity to look into the issue just to protect Michael Weezy. It's not, I don't have anything against Michael Weezy. I just think we need to be making sure it's all right legally for him, you know. And I thought, from my understanding, the city attorney said she wanted to check more into the matter.
Mayor, can I ask Alderwoman, Alderman Curl a question?
Sure.
Alderman Curl, do you, and this has a lot to do with the citizens over in Ward 4 and just as the board and the city as a whole. Would you agree that the ordinances of the city of Bellefontaine neighbors should be followed by the residents and the board?
Well, you know, if you want to get into all of that, you know, if
I mean, it would just be a yes or no.
No, I'm going to respond. Since you want to ask a question, I'm going to respond. Back in October of 2017, if you go look in the meeting minutes, when those barricades were put up there at that building at Jennings Station Road and 367, you had two residents came up that was horrified that you had those barricades up there and how ugly they were. There was discussion for 3 months from July of 2017, I think the discussion started in planning and zoning about the barricades and making sure that they were architecturally or aesthetically pleasing. There was this big brouhaha, these barricades are horrible, all of this. And now all of a sudden, because Cabot's got a barricade up there, it's like, oh, let's go protect Ward 4 and we need barricades down there. We just had a budget meeting, several budget meetings just a couple months ago. This was never ever brought up. This was never ever mentioned about, let's put these barricades in there. This is very much a rash decision based on impulse and I would say jealousy, petty jealousy. Because if you really want to protect the city, you know, people have been talking about having speed bumps for years. As Alderwoman Avant-Elliott has mentioned, I never once heard anything, a discussion about putting up barriers until that barrier was put up at Cabot at the entrance of Bissell Hill. But I've heard.
Okay, we've discussed it enough. We got it. Alderwoman Tutman.
That was the question. That was just one question that I asked Alderman Curl. Does he agree that the ordinance of the city of Bellefontaine neighbors should be followed by the board and the citizens? That would be a simple yes or no.
I gave you my answer, Mayor.
Okay, and by the way, that's private property. So that would be a no if you're not answering yes.
But you can take it however you want. I'm not going to answer it.
Okay, that's very obvious.
So just for clarification from the city.
Move forward here. It's getting late.
That's fine, but can the city attorney, is the city attorney wanting to find out about this issue, or do you want to go ahead and vote on it? It doesn't matter to me either way. I just thought she needed some time to look into the issue.
Attorney, do you want to comment on that?
Yes, I've had a chance to do some quick research, and there is a state statute that deals with a waiting period for lobbyists, but given the nature of what occurred here, this provision would not apply because he's not acting as a lobbyist. The other thing that's not clear to me is that he is actually being paid market rate compensation for services. It doesn't appear that that is the case. So thus far, I have not found anything that specifically addresses this situation. The other state statute that we located has to do with those who are currently elected and appointed officials, and that would not apply to Mr. Weesey. So I have not found anything in the time that I have looked that would cover this situation. And just based on what I have heard, given the fact that he is not receiving market rate compensation for his services, it seems as though he's acting more as a volunteer, someone who is helping out, as opposed to someone who is trying to make money for performing a service. But I will look into it further if that is your pleasure.
I'm fine with that. I just wanted your opinion.
I'd like a roll call vote, Mayor, if that's okay.
I beg your pardon?
I would like a roll call vote so he can continue on with the scope of work.
Okay, then, roll call vote on the motion.
Okay, Alderwoman West. Alderwoman Tapman.
Yes.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes.
Alderman Carroll.
No.
Alderman Christian.
No.
Alderwoman Dales.
Yes.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
No.
Alderwoman West.
No.
Okay, you have 1, 2, 3 yes and 4 no's, Mayor.
All right.
Mayor,
So-
I would like to state for the record that the citizens over in Ward 4 are going to do fundraisers to continue on to pay Michael Weesey, so because of their safety over there, and they wanted it noted on the record that if this failed, that they will come up with the money as the citizens in that area to protect themselves. I want that on the record so they'll know that it was voted down, especially by one of their aldermen.
Okay. All right, Alderman report. I think that's next, isn't it?
No, next is 12D on that amended agenda, which is the chief's redundant data backup storage device replacement.
Excuse me, this is Alderwoman West. My hand was up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
right.
okay. You know, it's one thing to want to pass something because of the citizens, but it's something entirely different when you're trying to follow the rule of the law. I have concerns. I love Mr. Weesey, and I am just overwhelmed with joy for the work that he has done for this city, the city that he lives in. However, I do have concerns about people accepting money for whatever reason. There have been people who wanted to give me money to help me with the renovations of the outdoor pool. I could not accept that. That is illegal, it's unethical, And for someone to take money as donations for whatever reason will be subject to the law. And I wanted to state that for the record, because we all care for the residents. Hell, we're residents ourselves. And I want what's best not only for myself, but for the people who live around me. So for people to keep saying, the residents, my constituents, we're all residents. We all care for this city. We all want what's best for this city. But we also have to follow the rule of the law. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Wow.
Mayor, a follow-up to that, under any law, the citizens can buy lights, they can pay for lighting, they can pay for security, and they can pay for barriers under the law. So let that be on the record as well. And an elected official can't pay for services for the city. Let that be on the record.
Alderwoman Tatman. Okay, your hand.
I'm just flabbergasted at the last statement, so nothing.
Alderwoman Elliott.
Yes, sir. I would like to make a motion to approve the purchase of a purchase from Paragon Micro for a total of $1,009.99 for a terror station.
Yes, sir. Alderman Carroll.
A second.
All right, been properly second. Are there any further discussion? Alderwoman West. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying I would like to know exactly what that is before I vote on it.
That was what the backup concern that the police chief had mentioned.
Could you get recognized first, please?
Okay.
All right, you can proceed now.
Okay. That was what the chief had explained, that he had provided the 3 bids in the email for the backup concerns, and he can further explain it. But that was the question that we asked during his report about those the 3 bids that he had received concerning what they needed with the backup server. And that was the lowest bid was from Paragon Micro on the email that he sent. She did not, Fran did not resubmit. Well, she did not resubmit his information in the packet. So it was a separate email from him when he.
Would you like me to explain?
Yeah.
Okay, so I sent out an email to the entire board on September 1st with the request for approval and the 3 bids. I was trying to bring this up in a previous meeting, just never happened. And actually the bids are lower. We were saving $200 up front, which is good. But so the redundant data backup server, Barbara, is our secondary data backup. So we have primary data, we have a backup for that data, and then we have a redundant data backup. So if our first data backup fails, we still have a backup on our secondary or redundant backup. I was trying to, and this is for the entire city. This is not for the police department. This is for the entire city. So we were trying to stretch out that equipment to the following budget year. However, based on the advice of our IT professional, it's gotten to the point where if we do wait and it does fail and we have a problem with the first backup, we would be in serious trouble. So we are better off replacing it now than waiting and incurring greater risk if we should wait till later on this year or for the next budget year. And the first set of bids, the lowest was $1,200. Now the lowest is just a hair over $1,000. So waiting actually saved a couple $100.
Thank you so much. And I apologize to everybody. I've had like 4 hours of sleep in the past 48 hours. So I'm just mentally exhausted. Thank
No
you.
problem. No problem.
Help me move this meeting forward so we both can go.
Right. Come on, roll call.
All right, roll call.
Okay. Alderwoman West.
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman.
Yes.
Alderman, Alderman Carroll.
Yes.
Alderman Thomas.
Yes.
Alderman Christian.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales.
Yes.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Yes.
Okay. All yes, Mayor. 7 yes.
All right. Is there anything else that was moved down on the agenda that I missed? Then if not, the report of the board.
Alderman Thomas.
Hello.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, that's it.
That's a man after my heart there.
Okay. Alderman Carroll.
I have no report.
Okay. Alderman Christian.
I have no report tonight.
Okay. Alderwoman West.
No report.
Okay. Alderwoman Dales.
Yes, I do. To the board, the citizens over in Ward 4 would like to thank those that voted for the $7,900. They're very appreciative of it. They've been meeting over there and they've been excited about it. We're gonna have a census parade on September the 13th and 27th. If anyone on the board would like to participate, they can contact me. Dinah and I will have been working on this, so we're gonna get out in the neighborhood to get people registered. Let me see. And also we're gonna have a voter registration parade on October the 10th. And if anybody wants to participate in that parade, just contact me. And basically that's it. The citizens over in Ward 4 are very appreciative of the ones that did vote in support of the barriers over there. And they're very, very grateful and unforgivable.
Thank you.
Okay. Alderwoman Avant-Elliott.
Yes, I just wanted to provide a update to the board. As far as the training with Pat Kelly, he was out of the office this week, and so I'm pending a response to whether or not he'll be available this coming Thursday for the meeting. Next Thursday at 7. So if he is, whether he's available or not, we can proceed with the meeting agendas that we have. And for clarification for the individuals who do not remember, Alderman Carroll mentioned the titles of our meetings. And so strategic planning is just special board meeting that we all approve. And so until we vote to discontinue those, they are every second Thursday. That most individuals said that they could not attend, but they've been attending since we've called them special board meetings. So this is our normal second Thursday special board meeting. That title just no longer exists for that. I did want to get clarification because the mayor may not have included any response to this, but Mayor, we've had dialogue in email about processes. And one of the processes that was mentioned was the fact that there has not been a single board member to ever utilize the auditorium without board approval. So the Kwanzaa event was board approved, the Black History event was board approved, and it was a citywide event. There is an item that's not being placed on the agenda for the board to vote on that will utilize the auditorium, human resources, and any other services of the city without board approval. Is this something that you're pushing for? And why hasn't it been presented to the board for us to approve it as a official event that can be held in the auditorium that is normally board approved? I just wanted clarification on that. because
Give me some clarification. What are you talking about?
okay, so the summit, it was an email going forth where I challenged and shared with the alderperson that the board normally approves events held in the auditorium. That cannot be rented to the public. There's only been events that's been held by vote as far as alderpersons. When I made that statement, the person said that they was proceeding on with the event regardless of board approval, but they will be utilizing city workers and other resources without approval. So you had not brought anything up. It has not been, you didn't respond through an email. So I'm just trying to get clarification to what is your participation in this going forth. And if you could recall the big issue that the board had when Sharon, is it Sharon? When she had the event that was supposed to be board approved and it was a whole issue. So you made the point of making sure that it wouldn't happen again, but now an alderperson is saying when I mention a process that we typically have, that they were not going to put it on the board agenda for us approved, and you had not brought it up. And so I'm just trying to understand what part are you playing in allowing this person to proceed on with the usage of the auditorium without it being on the agenda for board approval.
Are you talking about the town hall meeting?
No, I'm referring to the summit. The summit, the police summit or whatever that summit is, it haven't been put on the agenda for the board to approve or discuss it. Do you know what I'm referring to now?
Mayor, my hand is up, sir.
I'm speaking
Okay.
to the chair at this point.
Well, I'm referring to,
Sir, I really don't have an interest in her comment. I just want to ask you. My question is only for you.
And I can answer it for you, Chair.
go right ahead.
Thank you. The event is called the Innovative Public Safety and Crime Prevention Summit, which is sponsored by our police department as a event hosted by Ward 1. And yes, the board was invited to participate. As of now, it's scheduled for October the 3rd from 10 to 2 in the rec center. I think I had the discussion with you, and if there was additional questions that can be answered again. This is an event that is sponsored by Ward 1 as a police department community outreach event. Events that are sponsored by an individual ward does not need board approval. I did invite all of my colleagues to be a part of the planning at the beginning and have invited each week to participate in meetings. And if the chief would like to chime in, if you need further clarification. And so this was an event that was scheduled back in March, but because of COVID, we didn't get an opportunity to do that. So to give further clarification about the event, our sponsors and partners in that is Christian Northeast Hospital and Foundation, Urban League and the Federation of Block Units, Washington University, UMSL University, Ameren, Metro Lighting, Community Task Force of St. Louis, Respond AI, Ethical Society of Police, our police department, as well as the Riverview Gardens Fire Protection District and Metro North Fire Department, the City of Moline Acres, and IBEW Local House 1. This summit has 3 arms to it. This is where any home in the city of Bellefontaine Neighbors or Moline Acres and one vehicle could get a crime prevention or safety prevention assessment. And depending on that assessment, they would be retrofitted, i.e. either with smoke detectors,
Point of order,
carbon
Mayor.
monoxide detectors.
Point of order. Point of order.
Point of order.
This was doing my report, and my question hasn't been answered. I am not talking about what a person can sponsor as an alderperson. I am specifically asking about the auditorium that we have indicated has to be board approved for usage. That is what I'm asking about, because since I've been on the board approves the usage of the auditorium because it is not for rent. The board just does not just use it as we please. So it has not been on the agenda for board approval. And I was asking, what was your involvement in that process around that auditorium, given what we discussed last year when Sharon Pace held the event in the auditorium, where she, didn't get, it wasn't board approved, and then it was done for free without a cost associated. I'm just trying to understand, when I just mentioned a process that the board does, why the person would not put it on the agenda to allow for approval, because this is the use of human resources that's going to take place. And to say that no more than 50 people will come during a pandemic that has been stressed and emphasized by that alderperson, I'm just concerned to why it would not be on the agenda for the board to discuss and approve the auditorium. Do you have any, statement about it?
Your point of order is not well taken. Proceed, Alderwoman Tatman.
Well, I'm complete because, I've given full disclosure, minute meetings and everything have been posted. If the chief wants to chime in to speak to that issue, but I would like to place a question to my fellow colleague to find out what is the consternation in participating in this event, which I've offered to all my colleagues to be a part of at the exception of, and have not received any response. So I'm trying to find out what the consternation is. We're talking about, we all love this city. We all want our citizens to be safe and a plethora of things. But here is an event that could answer most of the questions that our citizens have been asking about safety and crime prevention, that we could all work together on. And I have offered and have not received a response from the majority of my colleagues. And I'm just concerned. I really am. And okay. I think it warrants an answer. And if the chief can chime in as far as the validity, if you guys want to approve or not to approve the auditorium, that's fine. The summit will go forth. If you don't approve for it to be in the auditorium, it will be held at another place, which would be shameful because it's an event that's sponsored with the police, like we did the event last year, with the police in Ward 1.
Mm-hmm. Let me just, and I see your hand, Alderwoman West, and I'm gonna let you speak in 1 second. But let me just say this, since it was directed to me by the board president. Because you have 4 votes that's with you, you will not decide who can use that auditorium or who can't.
I think that's very derogatory to say what I have a vote of, because everyone is an independent alderperson, and you're about to become non-decorous in your comment.
You speak and you finish.
But you're becoming non-decorous in your
that's
comment.
What you're trying to do. You are trying
to say
what
I'm trying to do, sir.
In that auditorium that you don't want. By whom?
No, this is a process that I'm referring to.
So you out of order. Alderwoman West, it's your turn to speak.
Mayor, I just want to say that
Remember
when
Alderwoman West, remember you tired, want to go to bed, and I do too, so.
when you want to debate, you must remove yourself from the chair and have someone else take your place.
Yeah, that's
but I want to address the comments that were made by my fellow alderwoman. I can say personally that I was not reached out to. I heard about the summit via Nextdoor, where people were talking about it. But if you want to hold an event in the auditorium using city staff, that should be board approved. People just cannot continuously ignore protocol of what should happen and say, well, I'm going to move forth anyway. I don't see what the problem is by getting board approval for events you want to hold in the auditorium. You and I discussed this last year when you were first elected. And I'm not going to go into all of that conversation, but it should be board approved. You just cannot do this without board approval, period, dot. Let's start doing things the right way.
That's what I've been saying. I'm sorry. If I could, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
Mayor, this concludes my report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Tetman, did you have a final comment?
Yes, well, I gave my full report. And I want to say that the invite was sent out to everyone. And I'm sorry if some people missed it. I don't think so, though. But what I would like to do, so we can lay this on the table, is on the next scheduled meeting of the board on the 17th. I'll place this for a vote, but do want to make the statement that it would be ashamed that an event of this magnitude not be held on our city property. So I will place it on the vote because it's going to proceed, and I would love for it to proceed in our house.
I'm asking you.
But I would like for the chief to speak to the issue because he and I have been working on this for a year. Chief, are you still there?
Well, let me can I chime in here?
Yes, sir.
Because I don't want this put on the agenda on the 17th.
Yes, sir.
That's our public.
Oh, okay.
Town hall
meeting, yeah. And I don't think Chief need to add anything to that. Do you, Chief?
Just something simple, Mayor. The catalyst for this whole thing was the police department. A community outreach event, bigger than usual. The police department has also sponsored other events using the gymnasium, and it was never required of the police department to ask permission from the board to use the gym. A case in point, 2 years ago, we held the largest disaster response training in the St. Louis area in our gymnasium. With police and fire from all over the St. Louis region. And that was a police department sponsored event. So I'm a little bit confused at this point, what requires board approval for the police department to, acquire space to use events. We just went through the recreation center and got approval from them.
Mayor, may I?
Yes, please.
Chief, I just want you to process something. Since the pandemic, all the way up to now, have you had this particular topic on the agenda for discussion at any point?
I usually don't bring up community policing stuff on the agenda.
So you never talked about the community event.
No, if we have a community event like a neighborhood block meeting, I don't put it on the agenda for discussion.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm like hearts for badges. All of that was agenda topics. The alderperson has indicated herself as a chair and award one event. That is what the email said. Yeah. We did not get an email from you saying anything about this event, and nor have you at any report that we've been meeting said that the board, that the police department is sponsoring something. The email communication that we received was that it was a Ward 1 event. And when she indicated that is when I said, why has this not been placed on the agenda? You have placed every other event, Alderwoman, on the agenda for approval. Why not this event? And the reply was she was not planning on doing that. She didn't need approval. You are now saying something that has not been the case in any report that you've held, which is concerning. So all I'm saying is she indicated this not as a citywide event. She said Ward 1. Hearts for Badges was not indicated as a Ward 1 event that I understand. It was indicated as a community. It was indicated as a community-wide event. And either way, it was communicated to the board. Every other event has been communicated to the board and asked for approval. We won't be changing the process because of, you know, this misunderstanding. So that's all I'm saying is that you haven't presented it as such before.
Chief, did you have?
No, sir.
All right, Alderwoman West.
Very briefly, an understanding mellow, period, dot.
All right, Alderwoman Tatman.
I'm done. No, sir, I'm finished. Thank you.
So let's move on. Call the next person.
That's it, Mayor, is open to the public.
Meeting's open to the public, 3 minutes each, please.
This is Wanda Lane.
Of course.
Yeah. First of all, I'm going to use my adult voice here. I think it was pretty despicable the way the board voted not to reimburse, however, whatever term you want to use, Mr. Weezy's volunteering pretty much to help the city because he is a resident of the city. You know, it's almost like common sense is just taking a back seat to this board, and you're looking gift horses in the mouth. That really disturbs me. There's back and forth between whether or not the attorney can render her opinion, because earlier she couldn't, but then later in the meeting, Alderman Carroll said, I wanted her opinion about this. And as she proceeded to try to give it to the board, it still wasn't sufficient. So what I've discovered, Mayor, is what I learned is fourth-class cities originally are set up, and they probably still are, that the alderman, it says the offices of mayor, alderman, and collector may be extended to 4 years by voter approval ordinance, which means to me, originally, or maybe somewhere else, these are 2-year terms, because this is going to be a harrowing next 2 years if we have to continue to fight these kinds of egomaniacs that actually are not working for the betterment of the citizen. I thank Mr. Weezy for what he's doing. I thank everyone for what they're trying to do to help make the city better. A crime prevention summit, whatever is to help us. And the who did it and who didn't ask for permission, that stuff needs to be squelched. And I'm going to stop now because my voice is escalating, and I also want to go to bed. It's 11 o'clock. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Do you have anyone else from the community who wants to speak?
Yes, this is Kathy Mason at 1013 Darnell Avenue. I started going to these meetings back in 2005. I have never, ever been more disappointed in my alderwoman. I've got one alderman working for me and one blocking her every time she tries to do something. This city, especially Ward 4, is on its way to be Walnut Park #3. They got east, west, then we're going to have Ball Fountain, Walnut Park. I know what it's like to live in a city where you have to move because your son is afraid of you living there after he has to go out of town or something. We are becoming Walnut Park. We don't want to go there. We need to protect our citizens everywhere. We live right at the city limits, and people are passing drugs. They're speeding up and down our streets. It's like we don't even matter. And I'm assuming my 3 minutes is up. Thank you.
No, you're good. You had another minute or so. All right. Anyone else?
Thank you, Meg.
You're welcome. Anyone else from the one of our citizens want to speak? All right, then. It is my happy privilege to say this meeting gives a motion to adjourn and go into, I guess we go into closed session.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
we're gonna have to boot it back up now. I'm sure it's knocked us off because it's 11 o'clock. So that code that you guys have won't work. We'll try it, but I doubt it because it's 11 o'clock.
Well, is it necessary for us to go into closed session?
It's on the agenda
Then we can take it off the agenda.
by 2/3 vote. You don't have to attend.
Now, yeah, if you're gonna be on there, I'm going 10, baby.
So then come on then. You gotta attend. Come on.
Don't play me like
I
that.
won't be there.
I think that's what you wanted on the agenda. Do you want to put it on another agenda?
Who?
She just make a move to remove it until another time.
That's a good one. I'm gonna get. I'll go with you on that one. I'll go with you on that one.
So, Fran, if it doesn't work, then what?
Just a minute.
I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna. How do we? Hold on. Let me think how to do it. I move.
You
Not-
type it in.
Table it to the Thursday one or what?
Yeah, well, that was a good, come on, you gotta give it to him. That was a good one. You gotta give him some.
Somebody else hold it down. Just remove it from the agenda until.
I'm doing it right now. I make a motion I move not to hold a closed session and adjourn this meeting.
Is that a second?
My hand is up.
Oh, I don't have that on yet. Just go ahead on second if you second.
I second it.
All right, Mayor.
Yes.
I would like to amend his motion to place the closed session on next Thursday's meeting agenda.
A second.
Okay.
Who said second? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's not sufficient. We have 2 meetings in 1 week. And dealing with them is enough in 1 week.
Okay, so well,
take it to the 17th.
No, we don't want to put it on the 17th.
17 is,
Oh, that's right.
uh-huh.
So it had to be the first meeting in October.
How come we can't do it Tuesday night when Pat Kelly?
Mm-mm.
Well, we don't put stuff
Because
on
it,
in the time he need.
Okay.
Alderman Carroll, I mean, I don't, what you got on the agenda, I don't mind it. I just don't want to stack stuff up so we have these long meetings, that's all.
We'll do it next Thursday, the October or September 10th. That's what Alderwoman Avant-Elliott, and I second.
I won't be there.
All right. Any further discussion?
I disagree with that.
Well, okay, you can vote that way.
Okay.
I'll call the roll, so, and then somebody give me a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
It's all in the same.
He put that motion to adjourn is along with his motion, Mayor.
Well, Madam Clerk, just repeat the
Call
motion.
the roll. Okay.
If you need, not call the roll.
I move not, Alderman Carroll moved not to hold a closed session and adjourn this meeting.
And place it on the agenda of what?
And then, yes, then, and then Avant-Elliott moved to amend the motion to place the closed session on next Thursday's meeting.
No, on the what date did you say, Alderman Carroll?
On the 10th,
10th?
we're going to put this
Which is next Thursday.
closed session on the special meeting next Thursday, is what she motioned.
Okay, go ahead. Do you all have a life outside of this?
No.
Okay, you want me to call the roll, Mayor?
No, they don't.
Call the roll.
Okay. Okay, Alderwoman West. I think she's gone. I don't know when she left, but she's gone.
Okay.
Alderwoman Tapman?
wait a minute.
No.
No. Alderman Carroll?
Yes.
Alderman Thomas? Thomas?
He's gone.
Yeah.
Keep on
No,
going.
he's right there. I'm looking at him. He got his hand up, but he's not talking. Alderman Christian?
No.
No. Alderwoman Dales?
Absolutely no.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott?
Yes.
Alderman Thomas?
No.
Mayor, you got
4-2.
Four no and 2 yes.
Well, no's have it, and so it won't be placed on there.
Praise God.
So that means that it's still on this agenda.
No, it's not.
Yes,
We
it is.
adjourned.
It is.
No,
Yes, it is. Y'all just voted against it.
Alderman Carroll, we'll get to that. So don't.
Not the whole closed session.
But let's go to bed now.
We have the
We got to
Mayor,
adjourn. We got to adjourn the meeting.
Listen. We're talking about process. All of this was to move this off the meeting, and we have not done that. So it is still on the agenda unless somebody make a motion to
I'm sorry, we
change
have a point of order. You must stop speaking at this point. We have a point of order.
Oh, really?
Wouldn't that be 2 votes? Did we do that the wrong way? Shouldn't that have been 2 votes since it was amended? Shouldn't we have voted on Carol's motion first?
No,
then
because
voted?
No.
I think, yeah.
Mayor, may I?
Yes, you may.
We should have voted on the amended Alderwoman Avant-Elliott's amendment. That's what we should have voted on first.
Well, what did we vote on?
Well, that's what I thought we voted on.
That's what we voted on.
But then now we need to go back to my.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm saying the
I
process.
agree.
Thank you.
Close
Thank
session
you.
and adjourn this meeting. So that's
Thank
where
you.
we're at right now.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so you want me to call the roll on that one, Mayor?
What, on adjournment?
Yes, sir. And
To move to hold not to hold the closed session and adjourn this meeting. That's what we voted on.
All right, call the roll then.
Alderman Thomas. Alderman Thomas.
Yeah. Yes.
Alderman Carroll.
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman.
Yes.
Alderwoman Avant-Elliott,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales,
Yes.
Alderman Christian.
Yes.
All yes, Mayor, to move the meeting to the next, where's that?
No,
Move to hold a closed-
No,
No, it's
not
just
to hold a closed session.
Okay, I don't know then.
Right.
Not to hold a
Hold
closed
a closed
session and
session.
adjourn the meeting.
Mayor, the meeting's adjourned if you can say that.
All right, thank you. Alderman Carroll.
I
Alderman
said
Carroll.
we voted, the meeting's adjourned.
Adjourned, right.
Just
The
waiting
meeting
on
is
you.
Okay. I'm
Waiting on
giving,
you.
Hit the gavel.
I'm giving you a fist bump.
The meeting is adjourned.
All right.
Everybody.
Good night.
Bye, jealous Jamie.
11:08.
Good night, all.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
I'm getting ready to end it.